We are going live. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Tech Quartet live stream, the first ever and maybe first annual Tech Quartet with Quik Tech Solutions, Unky Joe's Playhouse, and the one and only Willie Howe. And I am Joey.
Joey.
I'm Joey from Cajoling Technologies. So, if you can see and hear us okay, throw it in each of our chats. We're live on all 4 of our channels. So whoever you subscribe to, or if you subscribe to all of us, you can just pick one to watch. Let us know in the chat if you can see and hear us okay. Because this is new for us. So what, you guys want to say hello to your lovely subscribers? Are you starstruck?
Yeah, okay. Howdy, everybody. Unky Joe here, Unky Joe's Playhouse. Welcome to the live stream. Yeah, we've had a lot of fun setting this up. Willie?
Good morning, everybody. I'm Willie. And if you're viewing on my channel, please do everyone here a favor. Go check out Cajoling Tech, Unky Joe's Playhouse, Quik Tech Solutions. Give those guys a big thumbs up and subscribe. Lots of great content. Can't wait to get into the conversation. I feel like we just did this a minute ago, but I think you're in for a treat today.
Cool. Hey, everybody. I'm Tony from Quik Tech Solutions, and welcome. And I'm thrilled to be here. In fact, I just want to say, guys, being on here with you guys in your company is such an honor, and it is so humbling. And I'm thoroughly excited and looking forward to this. I have learned so much from all of you guys over the years. So thank you guys for that. And I also want to take time out. I hope you don't mind, Joe, but I want to thank Joe Trelli and his wife, Ashley, for putting together all the tech behind what you guys are seeing right now. A lot of time, a lot of effort went into it. Ashley did some nice artwork for us. In fact, we got to give kudos out, shout out to Joe's wife, Ashley, for the shirts. Thank you so much. So
thanks, Ashley.
Yeah, I just wanted to get that out there in my welcome. So thank you, guys.
Well, thank you, Tony. It's been a pleasure. It's fun to do this, and I am getting some responses on my chat that it looks and sounds good. So hopefully you guys as well.
Same here.
Yeah, definitely. If any of you out there in YouTube land are thinking about starting a channel, doing anything, go check out Cajoling Tech. Hit Joe up. He's been a huge help to me. Like Tony already has immaculate lighting and video and makes the rest of us look like amateurs, but like Joe's right up there and has been a huge help. Joe has actually helped me in a professional setting, with board meetings and stuff like that. So yes, thank you, Joe. Thank you, Ashley. And thanks to all of these guys for putting up with my hijinks the last couple of weeks.
Oh,
I'd have it no other way. And thank you, Willie. Part of the reason why I got into YouTube was you guys. I mean, that was the whole deal. I'm ruining one of the questions we have.
Well, everybody should go subscribe to all 3 of your channels because I thoroughly enjoy your content. So if people ask me, like who am I watching? I'm definitely watching the other 3 fellas on this stream.
That's awesome. Thank you.
Well,
thank you,
Willie.
Yeah. And yeah, Joe, kudos, man, putting all this together, because I certainly couldn't have done it. So, but yeah, we've been playing around with this we've done a couple of test streams already. Had a lot of fun on those. So again, thank you. And thanks to your wife for the artwork and the shirts. So
yeah,
absolutely. Sure. Any time. Well, I'm glad everybody can see and hear us. We should also mention that we're going to be doing giveaways. So share the stream with folks if you want to be a part of it. And to join the giveaway, there's a few different spots where it's located, but essentially you sign up. We're using a service called gleam.io, which allows us to record all the entries, and then we can randomly choose for we have 4 different prizes that we're going to be drawing today, every 20 or so minutes when we have a break in the action. But so we have a NetTool Pro from Willie. We have a Chromecast from Unky Joe, Speedify from Tony, and I have a MeshForce M3 that apparently I don't have in front of me, so I'm failing there. But it's a Wi-Fi router system. But so in my case, you can go to cajolingtech.com and click on giveaway. Where you guys want to just say where yours are?
There's a link on my Twitter. If you follow me on Twitter, there's also a pinned link at the top of the live chat in my channel.
Oh, that's smart. Didn't think about that.
Twitter, Facebook, the normal.
Right on my homepage, quiktechsolutions.com.
So all you have to do is go put your name and email. We're not selling anybody's information or all that or doing anything with it. Actually, the only thing it's for is to just verify that you are, a real person, and we can email you, communicate with you, get your address to ship it out. And we are limiting this to the US, I think, right, guys? That's what we decided, just because of international shipping laws and things.
Yeah.
Yep. So unfortunately, it's US only, but definitely we appreciate our international friends for sure.
Absolutely.
So where do you guys want to start? You want to do some questions? By the way, in the chat, if you have questions for any of us, no matter what channel you're on, put them in the chat, and we're going to go through and probably answer a few questions that we have kind of pre-set up to answer, and then you can just pop them in the chat. Yes, Unky Joe.
Will we ship to Canada?
Sure.
Okay,
I don't know.
Good.
Tony's
I
our
got a viewer
international
from Canada, so
Tony's our international shipping guru. So
Well, I just figured whatever the U.S. regulations are, that's what we're going to follow. So
I guess I don't know. I don't know enough about it.
let me check. Let
I know
let me check
nothing.
the tattoo. Hold on. All right, I'll keep it real, guys. Sorry.
Oh, no, we love it. We love it.
Yeah.
So, Mr. Trelli, why don't you open us up with a round of questions?
Yes. Happy to do that. Excuse me. We're all trying to throw down our coffee here. We were testing last night, so we're still waking up a little bit. I think.
And some of us had a few alcoholic beverages last night. I won't name any names.
Well, it is Texas, so.
Yeah.
Let's see. So we did the who are you? I guess the where are you from? So you want to just shout out real quick where you guys are in the world? Starting with Willie.
I am at the home of Caterpillar in Peoria, Illinois.
Unky Joe, Tony.
I'm at the home of the Caterpillar factory in Seguin, Texas. So there you go. Yeah.
Originally Bergen County, New Jersey, now southeastern North Carolina.
Is there a Caterpillar plant there?
Nah, I haven't seen one.
Wait.
John Deere.
Okay, yeah, I can live with that.
Who got Boeing?
Boeing?
Was that North Carolina? Did they move to North Carolina?
I
Boeing?
have no
Couldn't
idea.
tell you.
Yeah, I thought they shut down.
Oh no, they're in Seattle, I thought.
No, they're moving.
No?
They moved.
Oh.
There's a Boeing in St. Louis, I think.
Big
Huh.
plant. If anybody in the chat knows, throw it in there. I
If
think
you're
it's
in a
North
Boeing
Carolina.
right now,
Yeah.
you get
Yeah,
extra points.
right.
And I'm in Central Connecticut. Let's see. Okay, so how did you get started in tech? Why don't we start with Tony for that one? How you get started in tech? Because Tony,
Okay.
I think, has an interesting story there.
Yeah, I'm a teacher. I'm a band director by trade. Started in 1984 teaching fifth grade instrumental music. And somewhere along the way in the early 90s, one of the elementary building principals noticed a savvy, I guess, that I had for tech, that I just enjoyed doing things with it, and called me in and said, hey, we need to start getting our teachers on board with integrating technology into the learning process. And I've been watching you and helping them, and how'd you like to do it more officially? And that's without going any further into, how it transitioned. That's how it all started.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
Unky Joe?
Like everything else I've done in my life, I kind of stumbled into it. It was just I had an interest in electronics since I was a wee lad, and actually I started out my career as an auto mechanic, to be honest with you. And I was so good with the electronics diagnostics that they moved me inside and had me start doing things with electronics. So that's how I got my start, and I've had a lot of great mentors along the way. That's for sure. So, by the way, the Boeing moved to South Carolina, not North Carolina. So one of my people in chat said it.
Your people are pretty smart.
Aren't they? Smarter than I am.
Willie, how'd you get started?
This is besides push mowing grass, this is really all I know how to do, right? So my parents fostered this at a very young age, and it just grew into I started the first dial-up internet company in the town that I grew up in, and transitioned that into one of the first Cisco Networking Academy students, and here we are today.
Hey guys,
Awesome.
real quick, I just realized something that I missed in the startup process. I hope you didn't miss it. I just made my live stream public. Did you guys set it from private to public?
Mine was public from the
mine
get-go.
was public.
Okay, yeah. Oh well. Hi everybody.
Hey, live and learn.
Hey, this
So-
is our first time. I mean, I think
are
it's,
you
it's going
again?
pretty well. Yeah.
That's funny. Yep.
It's all good. Yeah, there's for those who have never done something like this, there's more, to make it look clean and simple. There's a lot of different buttons you got to click to get it to be the
Sorry.
YouTube live streaming panel is not as simple as you'd think.
I'm looking at this saying, why do I not have anybody watch? But anyway, but I was still live on all your channels, so
Yeah,
Right.
exactly.
yeah. So okay, we're good now. Thanks. Sorry.
We actually took all your subscribers and dispersed
go.
them across our channel.
That's right.
By the way, now that Tony's live, I was just waiting for Tony to be live. Go ahead and, if you would, click the like button on all of our channels, because it really does, help the YouTubes show it to people. So thanks for doing that.
Joe
Yes.
Trelli, how did you get your start?
Oh, I'm still starting. No, I'm just kidding. So I actually began in audiovisual way back in the day, like in grade school, doing live sound and actually DJing as a kid, believe it or not. And then, moving through like to college and adulthood, I went into sort of the corporate audiovisual, and then that moved into IT in the sense that, AV had kind of crossed paths with IT, where things were all becoming, over the network and stuff like that. So got into some video conferencing and real-time communication, telephony, and then now I kind of do that type of stuff, but for AWS, for Amazon Web Services. So that's, it's an interesting journey.
Absolutely.
So
All right.
let's see. Do we want to take a couple of questions from the chat, or we want to keep rolling?
Yeah, I'd like to throw a question Willie's way from
Oh.
Jim Holloway in my chat. He's asking, I'm thinking of getting a new UDM Pro, but before I do, is there a new version coming out soon? I would hate to purchase a new one and have an updated UDM Pro come out. Willie, what say you?
If it's going to be for home use, I think you're going to be okay. You're going to have to put up, with, issues, go out to the Ubiquity community, take a look at some of the problems other people are having. Just be aware of what you're getting into. We've got people who run them, and, the simple things they have them doing, they work fine. Just do your homework. It's like any other vendor. It works where it needs to. And as long as you don't ask too much of it, I think you're going to be in okay shape.
And speaking from personal experience, mine worked fine. I didn't have any issues with it. I just didn't find a need for it. And that's all I'm going to say about that. So
I've got a question, and I'll throw this over to Tony from the great land of Canada. Tony, Bob would like to know, what's the craziest thing you've ever seen at a customer site? No need to expose the guilty.
The craziest thing I've ever seen at a customer site. Just a messy cabinet, just wires all over the place hanging. A switch was hanging once just by the actual Ethernet cable. So that's probably the craziest thing I've seen. Yeah.
Oof.
Yeah.
What about you, Unky Joe?
I have to think about that one because there have been so many. Usually it's the people that I find that are odd rather than the equipment I can deal with. I'm used to that, but I've met some very interesting and crazy people over the years in this field. uh, it's all good. But I think the craziest room I ever had was, I walked into one and there was stuff. They had actually tied the Ethernet cables to the rack and hung devices from them. I've seen that a couple of times. Or they use phone cables as Ethernet cables, and
Oof.
or they plug non-PoE devices into a PoE. All kinds of things I've seen. So.
Mm-mm-mm. Yeah, I've seen a lot of things, and probably the worst maintained of the facilities I've seen. I would think that the ones that have the worst maintenance were actually like AT&T buildings. We had a client who had a T1, and every time it would rain, the T1 would go down, and it's because there was a hole in the roof right above the equipment, and it would literally leak down on the equipment. Yeah, Joe, I know you're just getting out into the world, and what kind of stuff have you run into?
Well, being in corporate, it's you're not seeing as many random sites, but there's definitely their own issues in corporate. I mean, I'll tell you kind of a more funny thing. When I started at my last company and I was kind of managing the telecom and that type of stuff, the first bill that came from our carrier came in a box. It was literally this many pages, like hundreds and hundreds of pages, and for years. And I'm like, why is this coming this way? Like, we have the internet, we have like, why?
Right.
And like, wow, I don't know. Is everybody shrugging their shoulders? So it took like 3 months to change the bill over to digital. It was just like commonplace to have a bill show up in a box. I'm like, that's ridiculous. So it's just the corporate stuff, sometimes just like goes on forever if you don't address it. So.
Dude, I still see mail and emails addressed to people that you have told companies these people are no longer here, and they just keep sending it anyway.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly right. I'm sure I'm still getting mail at my last company.
Real quick, not to take up all the airtime here, but there was another question that I had, and I would like you all to weigh in on this. And but we had a question from Sean, who at some point, if we keep doing this, I would like Sean to be able to join it. We'll have to go from I don't know what's after a quartet. You'll have to make some word up for that. But
quintet,
yeah. The next one will be
sextet.
Yeah. Whew. But
watch out there. Yeah.
Sean wants to know, any chance we'll get a crossover project that will span all 4 channels?
Yeah, that's possible.
Yeah.
Anything's possible. Never say never.
Well, we've been talking about how we would love to do something in person once everything's, cleared up around the world. But yeah, it'd be fun to do. I don't know. I have these, big ideas. It'd be fun to have do a weekend or something where we all go out and build something or do something, in person.
No offense to Willie, but if I were to go visit anywhere, it would be either Connecticut or North Carolina. So yeah.
Hey, you're not gonna get any argument here.
How about you guys? You have any thoughts about us doing something together?
Well, certainly. We could, in theory, do a video about how we got all this together.
That's true.
To show other people how we made it work, how Joe made it work. Let's give credit where credit's
right.
due. We're just monkeys pushing buttons. Joe's the one who figured all this out, and at the last minute, I might add.
Why don't you share that? Joe, why don't you share a little bit of how this is all happening? Because I know, I was intrigued when you explained it. So it's like, I'm sure the listeners are probably just going like, how the heck are they doing this?
I'll try to stay out of the weeds a little bit, but I guess before I get in, we have 30 entries already, which is pretty cool into our drawing.
Woo-hoo.
So just a reminder, it's free to enter. You just need your name and email, and then we're going to draw we have 4 items, so we'll draw them. So they're on our social medias. They're pinned in Willie's chat. They're on my website and Quik Tech Solutions website. So cajolingtech.com. And what's yours? quiktechsolutionsllc.com.
quiktechsolutions.com. QUIK, no C.
Gotcha.
And I'm going to put the link down in my chat. I think I can paste it.
I did that earlier. I'll do it again.
So while you guys are doing that, basically, we went through a few different iterations of ways we could do this, and you might have seen on my channel, I did a couple of different versions of this with just another person remotely. So we wanted to do the 4. So basically what we're doing to streamline it is we're using Zoom, because Zoom has a way you can stream directly to YouTube. So we're not going directly to YouTube, but like if you were going to do this with just you and another person, you want it to go just on your channel, you can just click in Zoom. If you have to have a pro account, like whatever it is, $15 a month or something, but you can send an RTMP stream to YouTube. You can also send it to a custom destination, which is what we're doing. So we're sending it over to an AWS service, Amazon Web Services. Willie's favorite, Amazon. So called Media Live. Media Live is to take in, different real-time media inputs. So I'm taking in the signal from Zoom via RTMP. And then Media Live lets you actually set multiple destinations. So if you've heard of like Restream.io or one of those companies, it's similar. What we're doing is similar to that. Media Live does, 100 other things too that we're not using, but I have all 4 of our channels plugged in there as a destination. So it's essentially copying that stream that's coming from Zoom, which is our 4-up gallery view, and sending it out to all of our channels. So you got to put the stream keys in there and all that. So, and I can set the bit rate. I can do all that in Media Live so that it's a constant. So anyway, that's kind of our original plan was a little more complicated. So I'm happy we're doing this, because the key is, like, when you do something like this, is getting the audio right, and things like a mix minus, or so you don't have echo, and that's kind of the
Don't
most
jinx
challenging
the
part.
stream.
Yeah. Oh no, it won't.
Last
happen.
time Joe said mix minus on a live stream, his internet connection crashed. I probably shouldn't even mention it, but yeah, we were also worried about that, whether all of us had good internet connections. I do, of course. I have the best. But
by the way, Ashley made a good point in my chat. If you enter the drawing, or you entered into all of them, so yes, they're all connected. It's all one drawing. It's just embedded in multiple places. So good point.
They can only win once, right, Joe?
Yes, you can only win once, win one product, and it's totally at random, so you can't choose what product. But they're all IT related. So
cool. And real quick, just before we move on, just as an aside to what you were just saying about how this is working, I know Willie and I'm not sure if you guys have, we've done videos on Jitsi, which is a free Zoom alternative, obviously, right? Just wanted to throw it out there for those of you who started Jitsi servers based on our videos, that you can also do, if it was just one person streaming to a channel, you can also do the stream from Jitsi directly to YouTube as well.
Oh, I didn't even know that.
Absolutely. Yep.
yeah, and much to my surprise, there's no OBS involved in any of this magic that's going on. So that was a plus.
Like so many other things in tech, Joe Strehle waved his magic wand and made it so. Yes, everybody.
We bow to your
you guys are too
superiors.
kind. You're giving me too much credit.
All right, well, we can stop.
You want to do a giveaway, Joe?
Sure.
Let's do a giveaway. We're at the 23-minute mark or so.
Let's see how many entries we have. 38 entries.
Drum roll,
Wow.
Willie Howe. Willie's our sound effects guy.
Hold on. Here we go.
Hopefully he's ready. No, not
Oh.
that. The drum roll.
I don't have a roll. Sorry.
What kind of sound effects guy are you? You're fired.
Ah,
Can we fire him? Guys, can we fire Willie?
I should have brought my drum up. I could have given you a real drum roll. Damn,
Hey, there
I
you
didn't think
go.
of it.
So it does kind of show, I guess, must be based on where you're logging in from, where people are. And I do see a couple of people who are international. So just as a reminder, if you do get chosen and you're international, unfortunately, we're just doing this for the US right now, just for some international shipping laws. And we don't want to run into any issues there. So I just want to say that before we actually pick them. So which item do we want to pick first?
Here, let's give this away.
All right.
Sealed in the box, brand new.
This is a Google Chromecast. Do you guys have that in Texas? Do you have that radio show? What's it called? Swap and Shop down there in Texas? No,
Never heard of it.
Oh, okay.
We have flea markets in Texas. They're very popular.
We have them here too.
Yeah.
Very popular.
yeah. Once
you
you,
can
hit
buy
like,
anything from Gucci purses to,
Let me
I
give a
noticed that.
refresh once more before. Let's see if anybody else entered. And okay, we got 2 more entries since we started talking about this. So now we're out of 40 entries.
woo, 40. If you're not in
Cool.
the giveaway, go get signed up.
yeah, quickly.
Okay, so here we go. We are drawing. Da-da-da-da-da-da. Let's see what happens.
All right. right, that's acceptable, Willie.
Okay, this person looks like they're out of the U.S. So I think we're going to have to redraw.
No Chromecast for you.
Let's see. Stand
Is
by.
Is that trademark? Can I say that on YouTube without us getting,
What? No Chromecast.
yeah, no soup for you.
Doesn't matter to me because I don't I don't have monetization anyway.
Wah.
That's
Well,
right.
if you weren't such a naughty boy,
Somebody on my channel says, "Can you text me when you're giving away a Cadillac or a Lexus?"
That's the Bezos giveaway, right? The AWS giveaway.
Yeah, exactly.
I have a question in my chat. If somebody while you're doing that, Joe, MM writes, "Can you give some advice on setting up VLANs?" I can. Unify. I have had trouble for years wrapping my head around VLANs, and I got Unify equipment in inches, point and click, and it's all done. But Willie's probably a better person to answer if you're not using Unify equipment. He has some great videos on setting up VLANs.
Hello.
We have a winner. We can hear you, Willie. Can you hear us?
Yeah, I had some sort of a momentary issue here.
I was singing your praises too.
Well, we can see and hear you. See, every time I say mix minus, you're right. Something happens.
Stop that.
Yeah,
But
I don't know.
have a winner.
And
we have a winner.
Yay.
You want to announce?
From Pasadena, Texas. I guess maybe we
Yeehaw.
shouldn't say where they're from. It's probably based on the IP or something. Glenn Tolar. Glynn. GLYNN.
Congratulations.
Yeah,
Yes.
Congrats, man.
Congrats. This is for a Google Chromecast.
Just let me know when you want to come pick it up. And
How
Just
far is
kidding.
Pasadena from you? Hours?
I don't know. Well, anything in Texas is at least 4 hours. So, congratulations, Glenn.
And we have your email. So, I'll give it to Unky Joe and he'll coordinate with you.
Yeah, I'll get it shipped out to you here first of the week.
Tony, you got any questions coming in on your channel over there?
Not at the time.
Well, I've got one for you that came in. I've got a regular viewer, Jacob, and he wants to know if you have any advice for a 33-year-old trying to switch careers from construction to IT. Since most jobs require some level of experience, where should new people with only home lab experience try to start?
That's interesting. Because it applies to me, but not so much in the IT field. When I was younger, I was doing a lot of home construction, windows and sidings, replacement windows and siding. And I'm just going to kind of tell the story real quick, and then he can use his imagination and, apply it and transition it to his situation.
Sure.
But, I graduated college. I didn't have a job, couldn't get a teaching job at the time. They were hard to come by. And I started working with an electrician, and I worked 8 years with an electrician. And I started off as a helper and worked so long with him. And then even after I got a job teaching in my profession, I went back summers and worked with him every summer and learned so much on the job from him. And, it started off by just bringing in the supplies and then cleaning up to roughing wires and pulling wires. So I learned that aspect of IT through that experience as far as the pulling wire bit. But the point here is try to, hook yourself up with somebody and see if they'll give you, my opinion is an opportunity to work alongside with them and start showing you the ropes a little bit, and it'll evolve. Trust me.
And Jacob, there's a possibility that I might have something coming up. So we should stay in communication.
Yeah, I'll comment on this as well. I wish they had something like they do with plumbers and electricians for IT, and that is an apprenticeship program. But basically, it's if you can get your foot in the door at a computer company or a support company, just doing the grunt work and build on it. That's how I did it. I just, like I said, I kind of lucked into IT. And if they'll see if you have a certain skill set, they'll notice it. Somebody will notice that immediately, and then boom, sky's the limit for you.
Yeah, I guess from, when I'm involved in interviewing and things, I'm always looking for, yes, a college degree and or whatever, some places, especially in corporate, require it, but I would say it's more important what you've done in your portfolio and like how you've helped a customer, or like the outcomes basically. So even if you're not in that field, like, I don't know, volunteering. So for example, we volunteer at this dog rescue, and I don't even deal much with the dog. I'm doing all the IT stuff, so if you can get, even if you can get something where you're going to get some experience that's not necessarily on the job, but you can build your portfolio so that you can, and then also depending on what field you're looking to get in. I mean, there's mixed reviews on certifications and what they do, but they do require you to study and learn what that particular company, like if you get Cisco, like how they feel about routing switching. If you get AWS,
Yeah.
what they feel about cloud,
Yeah.
so depending on the field.
Excuse me.
Microsoft, Azure, how about
and definitely set up a home lab. That way you
Yes.
build your own skill set. I mean, it's trivial cost to create a home lab. And most of these companies give away their software trial for free. Microsoft does, Cisco does.
Well-
if you sign up for those, you can usually get the software at a free or a reduced cost, so you can train yourself.
And I don't know if you all remember, like when I first started the social media and I first started the YouTube, my
The
first
YouTubes.
home lab was 3 Edge Router X's and 4 Raspberry Pis. So, I mean, I didn't spend, a ton of money, and, products like that will actually help you build a foundation of learning, instead of something where like a Unify, where it's a magic button and it creates
Agreed.
the VLAN and the layer 3 interface and marries it and does all that. If you buy some simpler tools, Edge Router X is $49. And you can get a Raspberry Pi kit for what, $50 now. So I mean, you can do it very inexpensively. You should also check out and see if there are any places around you that are check out hacker spaces and stuff like that. People, places where you can go, get hands-on experience with other stuff. I know right now is probably not a super time for that, but I'm assuming that hacker spaces and those things are still operating at some level. So you should definitely try to check that out.
And if you're going to get into switching and routing, definitely you want to, Cisco even makes a program where you can set up a virtual lab on a computer. You don't actually have to buy any of the equipment. I forget the name of the program.
Packet Tracer.
Thank you. Where you can set up a virtual lab with Cisco switches and routers and whatnot. And if you have the wherewithal to learn Cisco and the command line, you can pretty much learn anything. If you're into routing and switching and that kind of thing, it just, a lot of it depends on the field you want to go into, what niche you want to, you want to go into in IT, because IT is a broad field. There's telephony, video,
it's so big.
You name it. We're just hired Joe Trelli. We'll get you all set up.
Oh, thank you, my beautiful
Or
wife.
Willie.
Swapping out my.
Oh, I thought you were
coffee for me.
reaching out to hug somebody. I was, what the hell is he doing?
Free hugs.
I wish I had a wife to bring me coffee. Because look, my cup's getting low.
Yeah, swapped out even a new cup. Look at that.
So
Nice.
I have
Are you a cup
question.
collector? I'm sorry, didn't mean to step all over you, Tony. Go ahead.
No problem. No problem. I have a question from Zach N for all of you guys. He says, "Hi, wonder if any of you guys have or had any experience to try a self-hosted zero-tier SD WAN." I'm not really familiar with that, so
I have not. Yeah, I've not done it yet.
Okay.
Well,
I
I
don't even
guess
know
you
what
could,
it is.
You could. SD
I'll
is
just be
software-
honest.
Software SD is software defined.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah. So, I mean, it depends on how you want to look at it, because you could call the cloud software defined WAN, because you could. I mean, really, people are moving toward that, but there's also companies that will draw that up. You'll use it's not necessarily the cloud, where in the sense that your servers are the cloud. They're just providing the infrastructure. So, but anyway, yeah, I haven't personally, probably the companies they're talking about, I haven't personally worked with. But
Yeah. It's interesting because we're talking about the cloud, and looks like it was a topic that we were eventually going to bring up, and good segue.
sure.
If it's okay.
Yeah.
I don't know that people, just society in general, right? Non-techies really appreciate or have any idea how much of the world, Willie, how much of the world actually
cloud.
runs on and is dependent upon the cloud, cloud-based computing. I mean,
Well, what
you know-
is cloud-based computing? Basically, it's other people's computers, is what
Yeah.
it is. So it's
But
like to simplify it.
but the infrastructure, I don't think people realize the immense infrastructure that makes the world go round.
Yeah,
Until,
agreed.
especially today.
Until YouTube goes down, like it did the other day for 3-4 hours.
I'm gonna blame my stream on that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Problem that one. Willie, what do you think about cloud?
So I think hybrid is likely the future, and I think that it definitely does have a place. If I need a ton of GPU time, or I need large amounts of compute, for me, it makes sense to shift those operations into the cloud. You still have to be, weary of the security. You have to have proper protocols and procedures in place. And everybody says, the cloud is safe, and it goes back to, if you can touch a computer, you can own it. And the Capital One breach,
I knew you were
definitely,
gonna bring that up.
it's the most glaring, it's the most glaring, where when AWS employee, she logged, had access to the physical servers, and
people are always the weakest link in any security,
always
any security thing.
Agree with
I'm for the hybrid cloud. I fought the cloud for years. I told my clients stay off it, didn't trust it. And keep in mind, this is back in the days when you had less than, well, Joe, you know what I'm talking about, less than reliable internet connections. So, because you can imagine if you got 50 employees sitting around twiddling their thumbs because the internet's down and they can't do their work. So, and of course, everybody points their finger at the IT guy, no matter if you're running the internet or not. They go to you and go, why is the internet down? Well, access
to broadband in the United States is still a problem that we need to address.
Yeah.
Yes.
And you really ought to have multiple connections as well. If you're at a business in this day and age, you're running it on the internet, you need to have a backup connection, because the internet, it's not as reliable as the electrical. Well, in Texas anyway, it's not as reliable as electric. If you're in California, the electric's not even reliable. But you want to have a backup internet connection if you're running a business, because you don't want to be paying those employees to sit around and do nothing. So
yeah. And you know what? I agree with both of you guys on the security aspect of it, but let's look at it from another perspective. On the flip side, the cost of implementing, like, say, your own servers and manpower, a lot of smaller, I could tell you in public education, a lot of school districts, every year we hold our breath and pray that the budget passes so that we can just keep things status quo. We don't have the funds in education. Well, most of education, I can't speak for all of education, but we don't have the funding in big pockets to implement on-site and host our own, nor do we have the manpower, right? Or do we have the money to add additional manpower to support what we implement as far as that's concerned? So going to the cloud solution for us, we were a small department, three to four people, servicing 4 schools, 1,800 students, 300, faculty and staff. And we had to make it work with just the 4 of us. And so going to the cloud was a no-brainer for us, because we didn't have the depth or funding to implement on-site solutions. And for example, with our one-to-one 1,800 students and everybody and teachers walking around with either laptops or Chromebooks, let's say, we use Google Apps. At that time, it was Google Apps for Education. Now it's Google in Education, I think, supplied to education for free, but we needed a way to back all that stuff up. We couldn't put the infrastructure in place locally, and we used SysCloud at that time. And I think they're still around, and they're built all on AWS. But it was a perfect.
Here we go with the AWS.
Well, I'm just saying, it is what it is.
Well,
but
I didn't say it. I didn't say it.
It was a perfect solution for us.
But Tony brought up a point. So we often hear in tech, you hear the term SLED, right? State, local, and education. Education should actually be separate from state and local, because education gets very much better deals than state and local government. And there was a report this year that more local municipalities are actually coming back out of the cloud because the problem is the honeymoon period is over. So the special pricing is gone. And even private companies, you get these CIOs who some of them never served a role in tech besides training to be in the C-suite. And what they do is they go, the CEO, hey, we can get rid of 3 IT people if we move this stuff to the cloud. And what they just did was they just literally moved it from their infrastructure somewhere else. And AWS doesn't manage your stuff for you. AWS doesn't manage your security. How many exposed buckets are sitting out there, Joe Strehle on, and so really you've just shifted where that data is. You haven't shifted any responsibilities away from people.
That's so part of the issue that some companies run into is what you're saying, in the sense that instead of the right way to do it is to actually train those IT staff to now get some certifications or learn how to manage that data properly and securely. Willie, I was saying those people, really the right way to do it is train those people to manage that data. If you're going to move to the cloud, manage it properly and securely in the cloud instead of getting rid of them. Yeah, because you're right. You still need the people, to basically, own that data. It's the shared responsibility model, right? Like the cloud provides the infrastructure, but it doesn't provide the people are still, like you said, I think it was Unky Joe said they were the weakest link. So it's not that the cloud is unsecure. It's that the people, leave a bucket, for example, public, right? Like there's only so much, there's some democratic piece to the cloud in the sense that like you're not going to shut it down and make it so people can't do what they want to do. But at the same time, people are the weakest link. So you have to put, now there definitely are ways, like, I mean, my views have changed as I've gotten to deeper level with it, where there's plenty of ways you can put rails around it. But I think the problem people have is they don't invest enough in saying, okay, if we're going to move to the cloud, it's not just like you said, a CIO is just moving people, rip and replace and moving them, and not thinking of like, let's develop a proper strategy to do this, and let's get the right people. Exactly. And then
planning, right. But a lot of them don't do it. They just they jump onto the cloud without any thought. They continue to do things the old way as far as data goes, data management.
Right.
And if you deal with clients like I do, they have no clue about how much data they have out there or where it is or how to access it.
Until there's a problem, right?
Right. And they're never willing to spend the time or the effort or the money to get that straightened out. They always wait till it's a damn crisis moment. And suddenly the floodgates are open and they're wanting you to stick your finger in the dike and try to stop the flow. And you have to explain to these people that's just not the way these things work. Like anything else in life, you have to plan ahead. You don't just go into business with no sense of how financials work, right? You just hope for the best. IT is the bastard child of all services. It always gets the least amount of money and the least amount of thought put in it until you're ransomware.
Yep.
Have you guys run into ransomware attacks in your businesses?
Once. When I go in and take over any client, the first thing I do is I break people of bad habits, because that's where the flaw is. And 9 times out of 10, my ransomware attacks have been somebody opening an email they shouldn't have. They should know better. If you don't know who the email's from, don't open it. They'll call you if it's that important, But I've had one client, and fortunately we had things in place. We had snapshotting, we had backups that mitigated it, and we were able to isolate the computer before it spread to the whole network. But it's good. One misstep and you can lose people's data and get it crypto locked in. A company's out of business when that happens. Or and now here we're seeing localities, municipalities,
and hospitals
getting locked out, and hospitals. And what's next? Electrical companies, gas companies.
So they, there's some services that forecast how this is going to play out. They actually forecasted for 2019 that would have been the year that the actual medical devices, so pumps and monitors and stuff like that, were going to start getting ransomed. It might prove to be a little bit more difficult because people can't open an email on that device. But, once you get in the door, then that's, really where the trouble comes in. The first one I ever had my hands on was a company that's very popular. Amazon is their biggest customer. and they drop ship product, and they had it got to a point where I said, do you have enough paper backup of all of your stuff that if we have to recreate your ERP system, you can do it? And the answer was no. And how this happened was that everybody on the network had full control to every share on the server. And one of the owners of the company got an email, looked like the email was from his son. That had pictures of the grandkids, opened a picture, boom, entire. So they ended up paying the ransom, and we got the encryption key. And I actually think this person still has some Bitcoin left over. I don't think they sold it at a couple of years ago when it spiked, but it's so important that we do, we hear a lot of people talk, and whether it's physical security people, IT security people. And there's a few people that I really respect, and I hear them talk about the concept of least privilege, but we should always be designing on the concept of least privilege. And so I've seen ransomware happen coming through an ad on a legit website. And because the concept of least privilege was deployed, the server, it started going crazy because, the files are being encrypted. The workstation started going nuts. But the only thing that happened was the only files that user had access to got ransomed, and we were able to roll back, blow the machine away, and be back in business in 4 hours. And it's because there's proper planning, there's user education, and there's a whole, the whole security jawbreaker, as I like to call it. But it's education is definitely key, but there's just a lot of very simple concepts and part of the problem is with IT being so big, having the lowest unemployment rate, sometimes people are thrust into roles because people think, oh, hey, you're really good at this. So they just throw them into that role. And that person literally, just to keep their livlivelihood and keep their head above water, is they're doing the best that they can.
Jack of all trades and master of none.
Yeah. The companies.
So Willie, are you less likely to get ransomware if you're keeping all your data in the cloud? I mean, are these cloud providers taking precautions to protect your data, or does that fall upon the end user as well? The corporate end user.
Still on the end user.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, because one of my clients, when I moved him to Office 365, and we love it, and the support is great, but they were like, well, we don't have to worry about ransomware anymore. And I was like, yeah, you do. You still have to take steps to protect yourself.
And the ransomware creators are getting smarter and smarter. Right. So not only now could you just get pissed off at me and launch a total campaign against me to ransom me, you can do it as a service. But as far as the programming goes, a lot of this ransomware now will look for network drives, network shares first, encrypt that, and then work its way towards the local machine, because then by the time it gets caught there, you're
right. Like the example I gave, we caught it on the workstation. But if the ransomware had been triggered to go to the networks, to the SMB shares first, we'd be screwed without backups or without.
Toast.
Yeah. And that's what worries me the most is a lot of companies don't have the backups in place, or
they don't test their backups.
Right. Exactly. But
they've never done a recovery ever,
What about the rate of growth? I worry that it's going to get beyond the mitigators, the folks out there who are trying to put processes and policies in place, the companies that are writing the anecdotes and whatever, it's like that. You talk about concerns for the future with IT, that's huge. Like, are we going to be able to, is the mitigation going to be able to keep up with the hackers?
Right. Yeah. Well, and so there's a couple things. I do have a question that came in that I'll ask all of you on this, but Microsoft last year released a report that said, this kind of goes hand in hand. We know most of these attacks come in via email, via bad links, but most data breaches themselves could be 85% is what Microsoft came up with, could be avoided by using two-factor authentication.
Mm-hmm.
So that's another thing. But speaking of that, the backups that Tony and Unky Joe brought up, someone wants to know, for backups, do all of you guys use Synology? And I use Synology
almost
exclusively for backup.
Same here.
I use the
And
cloud.
then I do cold archive storage as well.
So Jay Shell says that let's see, wait, you guys are gonna like this. I think Willie has the cloud cough virus.
Oh, you guys. No, I'm not against it, but like I said, like I
Willie
think
has something. We're just not sure what it is yet.
the use definitely has to be appropriate, and it's the same thing though that we saw like Joe, when Joe Trelli and I, well, Joe's even younger than me, but like growing up, Microsoft and Apple were smart, giving free computers and stuff like that to the
Yeah, the
schools.
schools.
Because now that marketing, it's built in. I mean, how many of us have not played Oregon Trail, right? Like, so we all see those memes for Oregon Trail, and we're like, oh yeah, it takes you back.
Died of dysentery. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, I much rather, like I talked about the example I gave earlier in education with the cloud, but my own personal and for my little small company here, I totally prefer my own private cloud with Synology. I could still access my data wherever I want. I'm not comfortable putting it up in,
Love Synology.
the public clouds.
Yeah.
I don't want to mention names. So.
And use Synology Office if you're a Google user and use their online services. Just try. Synology is pretty much a mirror image of their Office suite.
I would like to try it
the
out.
Google stuff. It really works really well.
The only thing
for
I
me.
wish they would do, Joe, is enable editing on mobile.
Yes.
That frustrates the heck out of me that when I pick up my phone or my tablet and I want to go, I can't do it. I got to
What the messed up thing is, Tony, is if you create a share link that's editable by anybody with the link and you use that link, it works.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, I also wish, and I submitted this to them, that they would have like a form type application so we can feed information from a form into a spreadsheet.
Yeah, that'd be nice.
So you talked gaming. There's a random gaming question. I'm interested in the Oculus Quest 2, but never used VR. Is it a good starting option? Is there something else you recommend? Do any of you do VR? I know it's like the biggest thing here.
My son has an Oculus Quest and he absolutely loves it.
Really?
And I tried it, and I could play it for a little while. I ended up, getting sick, getting motion sickness.
Yeah,
but,
that's the problem, right?
It's, apparently though, they're going to go with like a higher refresh rate, and that's supposed to fix that problem. I don't know. What are your guys' experiences?
None.
Yeah.
Never tried it. I've never tried it either.
Reality is too real for me. I can only imagine virtual reality. So
Joe Charlie, we are coming up on.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm kind of keeping track of the span in between. So
you're a good man, Tony.
now, what?
You're a teacher.
Hey guys, while you do that, I'm gonna run and get another cup of coffee. So I'll be right back.
Have fun.
You should probably walk. Don't want you to break a hip.
I won't.
Yeah.
So
Poor Unky Joe. So we have 55 entries.
That's awesome. Hey, does the program that you're using, once somebody's already won, it knocks them out of the running, right?
Correct. Yes. You can only win once. There's a checkbox. I could actually change that, but we're using that only win once option. So let's do one.
So let me say while you're doing that, Joe, that this was sent to me by Speedify, and I did a video on it. I got it free for my review. I did do the video on it a couple of weeks back on its performance. They did not sponsor the video. They are not sponsoring the giveaway, but I just want everybody to know how I did get this.
Appreciate
Perfect.
that honesty up front.
Yes. It's always good to be honest about this stuff. Okay. We are drawing. Here's the drum roll. Drawing. Mr. Nicholas Bradford. You are the winner of the Speedify AC 2100 K7 XYZ WXY. Congratulations, Nicholas Bradford. We have your email. I'll give it to Tony, and Tony will connect with you on how to get it.
It's awesome. Congratulations.
Congrats.
Yeah, this works pretty good. I'm glad I subscribed to this thing. It's a lot easier than trying to do the call-in. We were going to do a call-in, but it gets a little crazy. We have enough tech in play here.
Don't lie to him. You just didn't want me running the phone calls. I understand.
All right, maybe that's part of it.
I'm definitely subscribing to Gleam, Joe, now that I see it in action, because I haven't done a single giveaway on my channel because I've kind of really didn't have a handle on how to do it, but this
Yeah.
makes it super simple.
Yeah.
What a fair way to do giveaways, right?
Yep.
Yeah, and they have, there's YouTube rules that we were talking about for this, but you have to, for those who don't know, you have to do things in a certain way with giveaways for really for the consumer's protection, and the viewers' protection. But anyway, they adhere to all those. So they tell you, okay, you can't ask somebody to go out and do this or go subscribe or whatever. Like you have to, so that's good too, because there's a lot of rules you got to try to not screw up. So,
And just so you know, they are posted on the entry form at the
Yes.
bottom. If people click on terms and service, we've covered what we believe to be in
yes.
compliance with YouTube. So
Yep, Tony, and I have to give Tony credit for that, because he did all the research on what we had to do there.
it's on the tattoo, Joe. It's on the tattoo.
Let's see. There's Jay says he got hit by some ransomware once. Can be cloud storage, can be expensive. One note on that. There's what a lot of folks don't know, as I get tangled in my headphone, is that there's different tiers. So for example, like I've been playing with backing up my Blue Iris video for my surveillance. So like, after a certain amount of time, like a week that it's local, compressing it and then sending it to the cloud. And if I was just using the regular S3 storage, that's at a certain tier, but I'm not going to access that again unless there's a problem. So I could throw it into Glacier or even Glacier Deep Archive, which is like super, super cheap. If you're not going to access it.
To get into when you start,
if you need to take it out.
Yeah.
Yes. So you have to be willing to basically say, okay, I'm going to forget about this for
not you, the
for
dog.
6 months. You can smell it from here. Oh man. What is that dog's name?
This is Maddie. Madonna Presley Page is her name.
And that's a
I didn't name
Chihuahua?
her. Yeah, she's a Chihuahua.
Very cute.
Yeah, she's a sweetheart.
So I love it. People are they are asking questions, and I've got one for the group, but I'll wait till Tony gets back for that one. Do you guys mind if I
go through? No, please.
So Blaine on my channel asks, can a Synology share be hit by ransomware? And the answer to that is absolutely. It can absolutely. However, if you have snapshots or proper backups in place, you can very quickly, very easily just roll back from that and, not have too many issues. And I got some more comments coming in. I got comments coming in on my channel here, Joe, about your AWS propaganda. And
what are they saying?
Cecil says Glacier Retrieval is not instant. Yeah, anybody who's worked with Glacier knows that. And then Bob from the great country of Canada. Bob is my coffee dealer. I have to put coffee in front of that.
Is that Bob Carpenter?
Yes, it is.
He's my bestie too.
Is he how you got the Lenovo server?
No.
Oh, he's how I got the Lenovo machine I'm streaming from right now. But he says AWS storage is a sticky honey trap, easy to get into, hard and expensive to get out.
That's a good metaphor.
The Hotel California, is that what you
Yes.
said?
Yes.
Check out, but you can never leave.
Yeah. Yeah. Bob and I have, I would consider us friends. At least we've been, we talked for several years.
Yeah, Bob's a great guy.
Yeah. When he's got some issues, when Bob comes to you with a problem, it's a problem. So you're going to rack your brain. But as soon as Tony gets back, I really, Sean's got a good question. And so you guys will want to put on your thinking cap. I'll preempt it with Unify is off the table as an answer to this.
Okay.
So just kind of think about that. Yeah. Oh, and Cecil says, check out Wasabi. And
I've played with that. Yeah, I've played with that.
But Joe, how can Wasabi, I believe, and Cecil, tell us if we're wrong, but I believe that Wasabi rides on AWS. So are they just buying in bulk, Joe, and able to provide it then cheaper than AWS, or how's that work?
I don't know if they do ride on AWS. I know they mimic S3 storage where it looks, it's block storage, or it's object storage, not block storage. But I don't know if they're running on. I'm not sure if they're a customer, to be honest. So I'm not sure how they're. But I mean, they have. It's a smaller company. They focus on like, the big cloud companies, what Google, Microsoft, AWS, or they have, I don't know what we're up to, 180 services or something. So it's, there's a lot of,
Goodness
there's more
gracious.
infrastructure there. Yeah. Yeah. It's not
Hey,
just storage and stuff.
So how do people with bandwidth? I think this is the bane of the internet, is the damn bandwidth limitations where they cap your bandwidth. I don't know a lot of ISPs that do it. Here they don't do it. They wouldn't get away with it. People would revolt. But how do people with bandwidth caps, like you're only allowed to download 10 gig, whatever the bandwidth cap is, how are people out there getting around it, or are they? Because when you don't have an alternative ISP to go to that doesn't, like my ISP, no bandwidth caps, no limitations. But I just wonder how people, and in commercial enterprises too, I don't know if those accounts are prone to those bandwidth caps. Have any of y'all had experience with that?
There are providers around here that have data caps.
Well, satellite I can understand. I don't know if any of you ever use satellite, but I understand the reasoning behind that, because they have a limited amount of bandwidth. Yeah. Yeah, I was through them all.
Hey, Tony.
I've been through them all.
Now that you're back, I got to preempt this with, Ren, I asked this question, and I'd like to start with Tony, and then go to Unky Joe, and then we'll go to Joe Trelli. I've got a viewer, Sean, wants to know, and he says, Unify is off the table. And it's kind of an open question. He said, if you had to design a customer's network today, what brands would you use for each component? Unify being off the table.
For me, that's simple. Unify off the table. I go with the Edge Max series.
And so you do Edge
Edge routers, Edge switch.
What are you doing for Wi-Fi? Ooh.
Good question. But staying, I would probably look at Cambium. But because Cisco just, we had them in work, but expensive, the licensing fees. And what I do is in more residential work and small corp, small companies. So there's no way I could go with Cisco, but I would definitely do the Edge Max line. And then maybe, again, I'd have to look into, even Grandstream. You've been talking a lot about the Grandstream access points, and definitely give that a look as well.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, cool. What do you got, Unky Joe?
I have nothing. No. You know me, PF Sense. Either buy a box with PF Sense preloaded, or for wireless, that's more difficult because I'm a big fan of Unify Wireless, but I can't speak of any other brand because I haven't used it. So I'd have to evaluate and go from there. And then depending on the size of the business, Synology, man, it's just, for most small businesses, Synology, it's a cat's meow, as they say. I love it. Can't get enough Synology. And maybe if I review a QNAP unit, I'll feel the same way, but I could run my business on Synology, and most of my clients could as well. So
what are you thinking, Joe Trelli?
Well, I don't do these installs like you guys do as much other than my home network, but I would like to try the Grandstream access points. Also, have you guys done anything with the Ingenious access points?
No,
never.
I've got a couple over here that they sent me. I haven't done a video on them yet, but I'll let you know.
Yeah, I mean, I'd probably test out a couple if I was in doing that other than Unify. But the Edge routers for sure, I use an Edge router for. I love, and to your point about getting your hands dirty with some of the networking stuff, it's a lot more fun when you're tagging VLANs and doing different things. It definitely gives you a deeper understanding of networking if you're new to it. So.
Yeah.
Willie, what's your take on that Air Cube that you held up? I've never used one.
I actually have a customer who is they're using they just got some rural broadband grant money, and so I'm helping them basically set up their whole back end, and they want to use the Edge routers at their towers. And so, but they're using a totally different brand of wireless. They're going to use Telrad, but they needed a way to be able to control the customers, turn them on, off, give them different packages. And so what we came up with was we use one of these in router mode, and then their Telrad wireless is in bridge mode. And then through UNMS and UCRM, They're going to be able to give the customer different packages, turn their service on, off, all that good stuff. I love the Air Cube, to be honest with you. So like if you were to say, if you had to use Edge Max, like if I had to have all the boxes look the same, I would probably throw one of these in there just for grins. But for me, I'm with all of you where it kind of, I have to evaluate the business need. But if I got a small to medium business, up to a gigabit of internet, a couple of VLANs internally, and their priority is voice, I'm probably going to go with the Grandstream router, Grandstream APs, and I'm probably going to go with Aruba or Cambium switches, depending on what the budget is. And soon you will see Grandstream is going to have Ethernet switches out. So they're going to have the whole stack from the router all the way to the phone system, the Wi-Fi, and then we would pair that with a Synology. But if it was something else, we've been installing a lot of OpenSense on Protectly, right, and been selling a lot of Netgear and a lot of Aruba switches and a lot of Cambium Wi-Fi. Also a lot of Grandstream Wi-Fi. And James is over here in my chat, and he can attest to, we've probably taken out 100 Unify access points this year and replaced with Grandstream. And every place we do it, people are like, "Oh my God, our Wi-Fi is stable. It works. We were having issues." And we just haven't been having that many issues. So,
Willie, on that subject, I need to replace that Unify access point on the wall behind me here for my office. So what would you recommend between Cambium and?
So, of course,
and remember, I'm the king of cheap.
So you're going to want to go with the GWN 7630. That's a 4x4 Wave 2 AP. And if you weren't going to go with that, then I would recommend the Cambium stuff. But I will tell you, I just deployed, I'm working on a project in Boston, and it's a 90 apartment building. Each unit is going to have one of the new Grandstream wall units that has a 7-inch screen, and outside on the door to come in, there's a GW or a GDS, I think it's a 3710, which is the doorbell basically, and they're going to be able to punch in the unit number. People in the unit are going to be able to see who's there, buzz them in. Oh. So we're using Grandstream there, but then to power all of those, they are not all hardwired in. We have 3 Grandstream APs on each floor of the building. And one of those GWN 7630s can be a controller for up to 50 access points. So you can do all of that there. You can fail over, leader and then co-leader of the APs. Grandstream, you can use their controller in the cloud. You can do that as well with Cambium. You can, with Cambium and Grandstream, you can now run on-prem. The other thing is if you stick a Grandstream router in, the Grandstream router can actually manage a couple hundred APs. So it's, and so I think what we're seeing is a shift away from some of the Ubiquity stuff. I think some of these vendors have smelled blood in the water, just looking at the community, and they're starting to provide services and stuff. And, as far as Netgear for switching goes, or Aruba, they both have a lifetime warranty. With some of this other stuff, you're only getting one
good price on that too.
Oh yeah.
It's only about, I think 120 retail. So.
Yeah. And if you don't have to feel pressured, Unky Joe, to use my affiliate links, but if you do, it kicks a couple bucks over to the channel.
I'm all for that.
So, hey,
when are you getting your Tesla, Willie? Now that you got, 60K subscribers,
when am I getting my Rivian? My Rivian that can do a tank turn. When my house
Tony.
When my house is paid off. But so I'm going to turn it over to Tony.
No, I just wanted to circle back real quick, and then we'll close this topic to the residential side of things one more time. And I know it's probably not pertaining. I know it's not where this guy was coming from with his question, but in situations where people don't want to go the hardwired access point route and have wires running in their attic and blah, 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 I've had super success with the Amplify HD systems. So just throwing it out there, I have about 10 of them out there and, in homes. And
yeah, I like to hear real world.
Yeah, I haven't had a callback. Haven't had a callback. They've been up and running 2-3 years.
Did you do a video on that?
I haven't. No.
Okay.
I haven't had my hands on one.
It just rang a bell. So
Well, when Willie was waving around that air cube, the form factor made me think of the.
Yeah, it's the exact box. Yeah, I mean, they use the same mold forms, I'm sure, form molds, I'm sure. But yeah, Amplify is here's my problem with Amplify. And Joe released his video on it, and I pinged him afterwards. And what a lot of people I haven't seen in any videos is that so in the Unify controller, there's an option to basically ping the gateway and see if the gateway's alive, and it also has a wireless uplink. Well, if that's enabled and your gateway goes down, your Unify access points stop broadcasting all SSIDs and they shut down. You can disable that in Unify on all the Amplify products, or at least a couple months ago before I stopped running them. If your internet connection goes down, your Wi-Fi goes down, and you have no way to even access local resources. So for me, that was kind of like, and I sent, Spencer a message over there. I was like, hey, and I mean, when they don't respond to you, there's no way to get around.
That was a problem I had with the UDM Pro. If my internet went down, I had no access to the device anymore. I had to wait. It would tell me on my phone, because that's how I initially set it up, that the internet was down, but I could not actually log on to my UDM Pro without the internet being up. It was that was a deal killer for me. So
here's the thing with the Amplify system. I wish they would add this feature with a lot of smart home devices. Again, I'm sorry, guys. I have to keep circling back to residential because that's that's my niche. So
yeah, I mean that's where people break stuff the most.
Yep.
Circling back, right? I wish they would add the feature to on an SSID that's broadcasting both 2.4 and 5. I wish they would give you the ability in the app to go in and turn off the 5G so that you can take those smart devices. Wise is one of them. I mean, if there's 5G, even if it's Wise camera or a plug smells 5G in the air, you cannot configure it. So with Unify, at least I can go in to the customer remotely if they're having a problem putting a smart plug or something on and disable the 5G radio. And boom, they're able to configure their device. Once that's configured, I go back in, I turn on the 5G again, and all is well. In Amplify, you literally have to fake it out and turn on, rename your old 2.4, and then it's a workaround. But you can do it. But I just wish they would give you the ability to disable the 5G just to get around that, and then like they do in Unify. But whatever.
All right, are we ready to change gears a little bit?
I just want to say one more quick thing.
Go ahead.
So actually, my ISP here, I do some consulting for them for their Florida arm, and we're running the Edge Router Infinity. We're running Ubiquity ULT for the fiber, but for the managed routers, they're actually using Netgear Orbi, and Netgear Orbi actually has like an MSP type portal, and I saw it, and it's actually fantastic. So if you guys get a chance to check out, if Netgear reaches out and offers you Orbi, and you don't have to sign a stupid contract, because that's where Joe and I got hung up on some things. And there were some other YouTubers that did some videos on the contract. If they offer you no contract to do a review, I urge you to get an Orbi and take a look at it.
Okay, so I guess we have a couple other questions that we wanted to get to, but first, just some clerical things. Number one, if you wouldn't mind liking the stream, that does help us. Number two, we are doing giveaways. We've already done 2. We have 2 more to go. You can find that on my website, cajolingtech.com. You click on giveaway on quiktechsolutions.com. It's the first thing that comes up. And then on Unky Joe's and Willie's, I think they're pinned, and also it's on their social media. So you can enter. It's free to enter, name, email, and then we're doing the drawings live. So you just
in fact, we ought to go ahead and do another one, don't you think?
I was going to say we have one coming up if we keep the same pace in about 5 minutes. So go ahead and get registered.
Perfect. Cool. So this is a little bit, I guess, non-tech, but I'd really like to know why you got into YouTube, and how it's kind of changed what you're thinking, like what you initially thought, and where you are today. Like what do you have any regrets? Like give us your YouTube story, because a lot of people ask me that. I'm sure they ask you guys that. Like, how did you're tech guys. You're not YouTubers, right? But you're content creators. So why don't we start with Willie on that one?
So I was a huge contributor to the Ubiquity community back when it was thriving. And sometimes, you would try to help people and explain things and I learned by doing and so I thought, well, maybe other people want to see this too. And so when I started my channel, if you go back to the beginning, I still get comments because people are like, there's no audio. Are you dumb? And I'm like, well, hold on a second. Like, and so
Yes.
like it was,
Yes.
it was me and a notepad and showing you how to do things in edge routers and edge switches. And started coming up, meeting other YouTubers. And I never thought that it would really, it has really taken on a life of its own. Because who would have thought 62,000 people would want to hear me ramble about technology, right? There are much more qualified people in the world, and but it's the same thing. I don't know, why do my kids watch other people play video games on YouTube, right? Like, you got the game there, just play the game. So, but for me, when you run across numbers like there's a million job deficit in IT in the United States, and you hear people say we don't have enough qualified people. Well, for those of us who are further along in our careers and stuff, I think that we owe it, just being good people, to help educate other people, to help them lift themselves up by their bootstraps.
Yep.
Get into the field, fill some of those positions. Don't tell me you can't fill positions with good people, and so that's why I have no problem giving the content away at all. And if I was at a different place in my life, I may give away like free training and certification. I'm just not at that place yet. You have to do well before you can do good. And so that's kind of on the track that I'm on. But I am thankful every time I make a video. I'm thankful that I met all you. I'm thankful that I've met all the other people through social media. Sean Woods, who's over here in my chat. I'm so grateful for Sean and all these friends, that I've made. And it definitely is, it definitely has its ups and downs. Like back in 2017, I can't remember when it was. I created a video on how to block ads on an edge router and published the video, and I'm on my way to vacation the next day, and my email starts blowing up, and YouTube has pulled my monetization. And so it's something that I just deal with. And I think at 100,000 subscribers, my thing will not be a Tesla. It will be, hey, can I go ahead and get my monetization back? So, but the YouTube, if you're out there and you're watching us and you're thinking, or you're saying to yourself, I can't do this. I slept through my ACT in high school, right? And I'm doing this, right? So, you can do this. And the hardest part of anything in life is getting started, putting one foot in front of the other.
Yeah.
And I guarantee if you reach out to any of us for some advice, like, hey, how do I get started in this? And you're going to get all the help you need. Right. So if anything has come from my YouTube, two things: a blind squirrel finds a nut every now and then, and two, you can do this, and it is possible, and we need to help educate people.
And Willie, a broken clock is still right twice
That's right.
a day, I think.
You have an idiom for us, Tony?
Nope.
Tony, you want to go next?
Sure.
Since I put you on the spot.
Sure. So, being a teacher, right? I retired 4 years ago. That's one of my passions. And as a child, I always dreamed about working in a television studio, being a cameraman. It was a mystique to me, and I wanted to, just in the worst way, do that. So in retirement, I figured, I retired at 55. So like, wife kept saying to me, what are you going to do? I said, nothing. I put in 32 years in the system. I'm going to chill, right?
Yeah.
All of a sudden I'm watching you. I'm a YouTube, I'm a sponge. I could watch YouTube 24/7. I like to feed this to stay
the brain
young with information, right? And then all of a sudden I had this like epiphany that said, wow, if I'm sucking all this information, right, why don't I apply my teaching ability and I'm sure there's something that I can offer in tech that people would want to listen to. And the bottom line is it's giving me a chance to marry my two passions, right? Teaching, and now I'm working with all the video gear, the audio gear, lighting, right? It's not quite
The
NBC
toys.
Studios, right? But it's giving me a chance to live out a dream, a childhood dream. So, and I'm giving back. I'm giving back to the community, and that's huge to me, you know. And if I don't, we were talking about this earlier. I still 11,000 plus subscribers, a little over maybe. It took my channel a long time to get there. Like, I mean, other channels grow to 11,000 in no time. It took me 3.5 years, and now it's starting to pick up a little bit. But if I can give back to the community, that's what it's all about. If I help one person, if there's one piece of knowledge in one video, and all the other videos are viewed as crap, but that one piece of knowledge tidbit helps somebody over a hurdle, that's then I feel good, right? I've done my job. So yeah, that's my story. As far as how I felt about it 3.5 years ago to how I feel about it now, I'm kind of living out a dream through YouTube. It's crazy, but I'm having fun. I get to play with toys, and yeah. I used to worry in the beginning how it's changed me now, that part of the question, Joe, how it's changed me. I used to worry in the beginning about why aren't I getting the views? You know, why aren't I getting the likes? Why am I getting thumbs down on certain things, right? You know, maybe I shouldn't be doing this, but you know what? I've learned thank God I don't get a lot of thumbs down. I do, you know, but
I can help you with that.
Yeah. I've learned to let that stuff roll off my shoulders and just keep forging forward. And you know, anybody out there really who think before you guys out there give us thumbs down, because we're working our tails off putting
it's a
this
lot of work
content together for you. Hours go into doing this stuff, in prepping, recording, editing, all the little tweaking that you do on YouTube once the video's up there, in the description and the keywords and all that stuff, right? So before you go out there and you're ready to trash us and jump on every word that we say that, you know, maybe we said something wrong, you know, think about probably a 3 to 5 minute video that you see us give you probably takes anywhere from 5 to 8 hours. And we're doing this for free for you guys. So
plus the research.
Before you're ready to troll us or smash that thumbs down button, you know, do a video yourself and maybe you'll appreciate it. So, but that's my story, and I'm sticking to it. So
well said, Tony.
Yeah, we all kind of admire Tony's setup. You know, he's done green screen, he's got great lighting, he's got microphone. I mean, he's playing with the compression and the EQ of his audio all the time. So
thanks to Joe Trelli, this is coming next.
Yeah, the A10 Mini Pro. I love that A10 Mini Pro. But anyway, Unky Joe, how did you get started?
Well, a few years ago, I haven't used YouTube like in the early days. I thought it was just, you know, it's gonna poof disappear someday. And my nephew got me turned on to it, and I started watching videos and went down a rabbit hole. And I ran across this one channel, this guy in Denmark, his name is Morten Hjorth, and he runs a website or a YouTube channel called My Playhouse. And it was right up my alley because it was all about his home improvement, and he has a big server rack, and you know, it was just like he was the jack of all trades and master of none. And I said, well, I can do that, you know. And then getting over the fear and having the self-confidence, get behind the camera and do it and take your licks. And, you know, it just, you know, I enjoy sharing what I learn with other people. And I'm never going to be, you know, a teacher. That was one of my goals in life, was to be a teacher. I just never got around to it. I was busy. So I thought, well, I'll just put the videos up on YouTube, and if people like them, great. If they get something out of it, great. And, you know, like Tony said, we're not always right all the time. We make mistakes like anybody else does. And frankly, I don't even look at the likes and dislikes anymore, because YouTube treats them the same. It's all considered interaction. And the negative people, you know, some people are just negative, and they want to suck the joy out of a room. And I pray for those people that they find happiness in their lives, but I don't pay any attention to them anymore on YouTube. I do the videos that I find interesting, and if people like them and find them interesting, great. Then I've helped share that with other people. So, and that's what it's all about, is helping other people overcome. It's how I learn. Most of the stuff I've learned from other people. I'm not a genius any more than anybody else is, but when we share this as a community. And that's something the internet has really done. It's changed the way people consume media completely. It used to be we'd sit in front of that box every night and get our news and our information. Now most people get their stuff off the internet, whether that's right or wrong, but at least you get varying degrees of opinions and you can make an informed decision for yourself. So I think that is one of the greatest benefits of YouTube, is people that normally wouldn't have a voice have a way to have a way to share their information with other people. And I'll shut up now. Joe?
Excellent. No, excellent.
Yeah, no, and it's a good point on the way you're consuming media, because that's really why I got started in it. Is the same thing with you guys. Like I'm really only watching YouTube, and you have these channels. I don't know, I probably follow 50 channels, subscribe to them, and I'm excited at the end of the workday to go down and see what people have done and learn something. And I get bored easily. Just sitting there watching network TV is just not interesting anymore to me.
Yeah.
So anyway, I guess why I got started was the learning as well, where I was using YouTube to learn everything. I mean, I built an office. I had never picked up a tool in my life and built an office just basically watching videos on YouTube. And especially like Willie and Tony, and watching your edge router. I bought a edge router X for, at the time it was $50. Had no idea what I was doing with it, and set up a home lab basically from your videos, which is really like my first entry into the home networking space. So from there, did a lot more, and then eventually was like, hey, I should help people out too. Like this is fun. And then that was before I even did the whole AWS thing. By the way, I'm not a shill for them, but it's just where I work. But
Willie's just a hater on AWS. That's all.
I just like to be the you watch like these shows, and you have to have different opinions, right? You have to, it makes it interesting. So anyway, I think it's fun. I guess we should probably go to our chats. What is that? Oh, it's giveaway. Is that what that
giveaway?
Giveaway time. Sorry, I can't say it, but it's time for the next giveaway.
Just looks like a blank piece of paper.
Yeah, I don't have a marker here with me, so.
Yes. So let's go over to the giveaway. Let's see how many entries we have. We have 68 entries. And what's our next giveaway? Which one? We have
Willie
the
Howe.
Mesh Force and the NetTool Pro left. Do we want to do the NetTool Pro or the Mesh Force?
Can I enter? No.
So, well, Nathan, the CEO and creator of NetTool, is he's watching over on my channel. So maybe Nathan would like. I know I sent Joe personally one of mine. I haven't seen a review video on it yet, but maybe Nathan would hook us up with, hook Unky Joe and Tony up with one and get their thoughts on it as well. Funny story before we get into this. Last week, Nathan and I were supposed to give a presentation to a group of Australians because Nathan got NetTool hooked up with Leader, the largest distributor in Australia, and we got on Skype and we got things all figured out. And then I get home late from a board meeting, and I've got other commitments, and because of the time difference between Australia and where we're at, the thing was in like 2 hours, so I had to miss it, and Nathan had to go on. But I know he did a great job, and Nathan says sure he will get you guys out some NetTool. So well,
thank you.
We'll have to get him your address. But this is the new NetTool Pro.
What's the difference? Because you had sent me the old one. I'm curious what the difference is.
That's all you get is the old use stuff. So there's this one, which is the Gen 1 or the non-Pro. And it's got the black box, the green dot there, if you see this. So the big difference with the Pro is that you can do custom programming. You can do if-then statements. And so you can basically write a bunch of scripts. Let's say that you've got, 20 switches that you need to get configured, and you need a voice VLAN, and you need a username and password set. You can program all that into this NetTool. You can plug it into the switch, and it will automatically program the switch for you. Yes.
Magic.
Yes,
Wow.
It is absolutely magic. So I'm going to be doing a video on this.
Sweet.
And Nathan is where I'm at. The year has just been everybody can agree that this has just been a very unusual year. And
Mhm.
so, I think we're, some of us are running a little bit behind on some of these things, but the NetTool Pro, we will be giving this away. It comes with, and Nathan did send this over for free, but this is not sponsored. In the box, you will get a NetTool sticker. You'll get some marketing propaganda. You will get
Is there any AWS in there?
No.
Actually, whoever wins this, I do have an AWS sticker. I will stick it in the box. There is a power brick. You get the NetTool itself.
It's a tiny little thing.
Yeah, so here's what it looks like. So this one has like more of like a rubberized feeling. The other one was kind of like a harder plastic.
Oh, yeah, it's nice.
And then it's got the orange lanyard. So still micro USB, not USB-C yet, but
Okay.
Reminds me of my Western Auto uniform. It was
Right?
it was black and orange. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
And then there's some things, I'm under NDA, and so there's some things coming that I can't really tell you about right now, but then you get a charging cable, and then he gets these cool patch cables. And then, of course, I will provide you with the so Bezos had one of his buddies named Joe Trelli send me out some Amazon stickers. I will make sure that whoever wins this gets an AWS sticker in the box.
It's like that Echo Dot I sent you that you tried to see if it was secure or not.
It's not.
Shout out to the Last Dragon. He says, "I like you all. You do a great job." Well, thank you. That's very kind.
Thank you so much.
Very
Yes,
nice.
thank you. Thank
That's
you
why
to
we
all
do
of our subscribers and even just
Yep.
people who watch. It is why we do it.
And unfortunately, because I couldn't talk Nathan out of it, the cloud features of the NetTool do ride on the AWS cloud.
I
Thank
knew
you,
it was in there
Nathan.
somewhere.
Make our
It
stock
all
price go
circles
up.
back around to AWS because Willie never shuts up about it.
So I have, and I feel really bad because like when we were getting ready to move, Pocket Ethernet, Nathan, close your ears. Pocket Ethernet sent me a Pocket Ethernet, and I have it here. And every time I agree to take something, I want to make a video on it because I feel that's my obligation, right? So you are going to see a Pocket Ethernet video. Pocket Ethernet does a couple things. So I think like if you're like, what tools are you going to carry? Like, I think you got to carry a Pocket Ethernet and you got to have a NetTool Pro. Because this doesn't yet do toning. Hint, hint, Nathan.
Doesn't?
But the Pocket Ethernet does toning. But this does all the program features, and this can actually be an access point. So if you plug into a customer network and you need Wi-Fi, you can turn this little thing into an access point. This thing has all kinds of features, and I've got videos coming up on this, and I'm actually creating the first official class for the standard NetPro, where at the completion, you'll get a certificate. So
Awesome. All right. We ready to draw it?
let's
Drum
do
roll, Willie.
Let's give a quick refresh. I think you sold a few more entries here. So
Yeah, I had a couple of my subs enter. I sent them the link. So
all right. So let's choose.
good
NetTool
luck, Mike
Pro.
Grisham and George DeLuca. They just entered, so we'll see.
I know we really do need a drum roll sound effect next time. Okay, Charles Smith, you are the winner of the NetTool Pro.
Woohoo!
Do we know whose channel Charles came from?
We don't, but it looks like it was a more recent entry.
Shout out in the chat, Charles, whoever's channel you're on.
Yes,
Maybe
if you
it's on
want to.
social too. Yeah.
If you want to.
and we do have your email. So thank you. Willie will connect with you to get out the NetTool Pro.
One thing.
Go ahead. I'm sorry, and I have something after that, Willie.
This box is very awkward, and it cost me more to ship this box like this than if I just take the contents out and put it in a if it I got to say this slowly, if it fits, it ships box. So you will get everything that's inside this box, and I'll break this box down and send it inside that. So we'll show up in a nondescript box.
You know how I know Willie's a good guy is that even though he's not monetized, he was very careful how to say that so he didn't demonetize the rest of us.
Yes, sometimes you got to slow down,
Yes. Exactly. Okay. Now, do we want to go to the chat for any questions there?
I have one.
Sure. Go ahead.
So Jerry Crumity writes, setting up a second 20 terabyte TrueNAS server for virtual machine storage. He uses XCPNG, Zen server, and Hyper-V. Any tips setting TrueNAS, FreeNAS permissions to allow Hyper-V to access the storage? Well, I would use iSCSI for Hyper-V. And I would use NFS for XCP. That's just been my experience.
VMware's moving to NFS as well.
Yeah, I don't like the way Microsoft handles NFS. It's kind of clunky. You got to go out to the command line to use it properly. That's why I say it's easier just to set up iSCSI for Hyper-V. That's just been my experience. And I think all you do is you set it up for read-write permissions on iSCSI and NFS. You associate the IP or the IQN with the machine, and then you just give it read-write privileges, and that's it. Bing, bang, boom, you're done. It's pretty easy to set it, pretty trivial. And I've got a couple of videos on setting up shared storage, Jerry, so you might want to go check one of those out. And Willie or anyone else, if you want to kick in on that or have anything to offer.
I can't speak to that one, Joe. Don't have hands-on experience with any of it.
Any other questions in anyone else's chat you want to throw in?
Oh, let's see. I don't know. Somebody asked me if I was going to eat breakfast pizza, and that sounds like an excellent idea.
Ooh. Or breakfast tacos.
I have a buddy, really close friend. Like we did a lot of socializing when I was living back up in Jersey. My wife's best friend's husband, yada yada yada. I don't know. He could even be on the chat. I don't know. He hasn't said hi, but he worked for Iowa when Iowa was back around, in existence. Then he went on to Sony. Now he's working for his most recent, I think it's probably 3 or 4 years now. He's with VMware. He did some stints with Google through VMware. And how do you think that would be something interesting? I've been thinking, should I ask him on the channel and do kind of a live stream interview? And would that be something you guys think, maybe even bring him into something like this if we ever did this again?
Ooh, like a grill the expert?
Yeah.
I don't know how much he'd be able. That's the thing.
Could I bitch at him about VMware?
I got to talk to him and see how much can you say, or would he be willing? So that's what I'm.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on that?
What he can talk about.
Yeah, exactly. So any
Bring
thoughts?
on.
Yeah.
I think so. Yeah.
So
So I've been with VMware since before, they learned how to monetize, their education piece, and, before they went down kind of like that Cisco path. And I keep finding myself time and time, I've used XPNG and Proxmox and Hyper-V and all that, but I keep, it's like you end up going back where you grew up at, you know what I mean? And
Hyper-V.
So for me, it's VMware. So when you see the VM videos next week with the UC 3200 or the week after, it's going to be ESXi 6.7 because that's what runs comfortably on the old Unify server that I refurbished. But it's interesting.
I'm setting up my lab with VMware 7, and I've run into some issues that I will cover in those videos. But but I'm still getting my VMware lab back up and running. I'm going to do a 2-server lab. Plus, I'm going to do that Lenovo, the server that Lenovo loaned me.
If you do
set that up.
Oh, Tony, this could be an awesome way for you to get into the virtualization videos. They have a version of ESXi 7 that will now run on a Raspberry Pi.
Yes.
Interesting.
I would
not very well, but it'll run. Yeah.
If you hooked it, if you were running some Linux VMs with a gig of RAM each, a Pi hole, you could, what a concept,
VMware is pretty flexible. I'll give them that. Even if you've got an old i5 or an i7 laying around that's not doing anything, VMware will run on that.
Okay.
The only problem you might run into is the network card. You might have to generate a custom driver or whatever. I joined VMUG. It's like $200 a year, and you get like 15 different licenses for products. I think it's well worth the money.
The king of cheap joined.
Well, here's the
Only
thing:
$200. So
$200 for
for
VMware.
yeah.
That's
Yeah.
like the free tier of AWS. Let's put it in perspective.
There you go.
Hey, I have an engagement challenge for our audience. Since you brought up breakfast pizza, I would like everyone in all of our chats to decide yay or nay, or yes or no, pineapple on pizza. And
Yeah.
we'll answer it here.
Sorry. Yes.
Pineapple on pizza. Yep. Okay, Tony.
Nay.
No pineapple on pizza.
My name
Willie.
ends in a vowel, Joe. Come on.
Forget about it. I got to vote nay on that as well.
Really? Okay. Well, we'll see how the chats do. I'm getting my first one came through as a no.
Well, you know,
My first no.
American pizza is not really pizza. All the crap we put on our pizza, it's not how Italians make pizza. I'm not Italian, but I know some Italians, and they go, no, it's not how we make pizza over
I have
here.
a friend who's Italian.
Yeah.
I promise.
Usually it's sauce and cheese, and that's pretty much it. And big globs of mozzarella on it, not the sprinkled stuff. And, and it's all about the crust.
So I've got a yes from Practical IT with Jeremy Leak. If you all aren't subscribed to Jeremy, go over to Practical IT with Jeremy Leak and check him out. He does a ton of Linux stuff, and he's getting up and going. Go over there and show Jeremy some love. I've got another no, yes, no,
yes, yeah.
Mike.
I've lost 20 subscribers in that question alone.
Oh, I know, it's horrible.
How can you possibly?
I have one user who said, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to jump in. I guess it's just the delay,
No,
maybe.
Go for it.
2 no and 1 yes. And then I just got a third no. So 3 no, 1 yes.
And now I have somebody said anchovies.
Ooh.
Which, by the way, have you all been to a Firehouse Sub, or do you know what a Firehouse Subs is?
Yes, we have one in our city. Yeah.
So it's like it's a good place to eat, and they do.
It's like a good Quiznos.
Yeah, and so we were in there, and they had their own hot sauce, and their hot sauce I was like awesome. And I don't know if any of you have these kind of weird things, but until I was just loving their hot sauce, bought some, brought it home, read the ingredients that there was anchovies in there, and I can't even bring myself to use the hot sauce now.
No. I like wasabi.
The hotter the better for me.
And if you go to IKEA, they have this great little horseradish sauce at IKEA. It's in a small little bottle in their food
You have to
section.
put it together yourself?
No, the
Just
jar
comes with the
pre-assembled.
ingredients. Yeah.
And but it's great. It's great stuff. I got my brother hooked on it now. So I like horseradish. So
And I did mispronounce Jeremy's last name. It is actually pronounced like. So it's not L-E. It's English, right? So it's Jeremy like. So
If you say like and subscribe.
Yes.
on the pineapple question on mine, it's about 80 no, 20 yes. 80%
Well,
no,
Quindor,
20%
Jay says no. Jay Shell, Quindor from Intermittent Tech. That was another live.
Oh yeah, I know Intermittent Tech. Yeah.
Yeah.
check him out.
Yep.
Yeah,
He's
great
actually
channel.
the #1 subscription when I look over at my thing. He's
Wow.
yeah. He's
Oh,
like,
really?
Yeah. I don't know how he gets to the top all the time.
The dude knows so much about LEDs and like it's unbelievable. If you're interested in doing anything with LEDs, like LED strips and all the voltage and making your own, like it's incredible. Some of it's over my head. I have to go back and watch. But he says yay for sure. Alfred says no pineapple on pizza. Ashley has a throw up face. So emoji.
Let's say I've got one user that I allowed to vote 3 times, and it's no, and no.
Hey, can I swing this kind of now in another direction, maybe?
Sure.
You want a chicken parm or no?
Now you're talking.
Don't get me started on Alfredo sauce.
I have 2 questions for you guys, actually.
Sure.
And whoever in the audience wants to chime in, that's fine. Let's not spend too much time on the first one. Is it worth, as creators, do any of you merch, like sell swag, and is it worth it? Is it worth to get into it? Because I'm just trying to figure out like why somebody would want to walk around like with a Quik Tech Solutions polo shirt or cap.
I want one. I want one.
I want one.
I'll send you guys caps.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. That way, when I show
I'm
up
a
on
hat
site,
guy.
Yeah. Hi, I'm Tony, and I'm going to wreck your network.
That's right. Blame it all on Tony.
There you go. So
In fact, I want a shirt that says "Blame it all on Tony."
there you go.
So I tried it.
Okay.
And
Me too.
we were not keeping any of the proceeds. The 2 times we did it, all the proceeds went to charity. So if we do it again, it will be very much. It'll either go to a program for our veterans in the United States, or we'll go to a children's hospital.
Well, that's what's driving me to. That's what's driving the thought is charity. I'm thinking of maybe some possible cancer, organization. So but again, is it really, are people really going to be interested in it? But maybe if you tell them why you're
for a
doing
charity,
Sure.
I would think they would.
Yeah.
And I would, for a charity, I would, but otherwise I have no interest in it. I mean, who wants to go around with a shirt that says Unky Joe's Playhouse? I mean,
Just saying.
think about it,
Yeah.
you can have a double meaning there. So, hey, it's
All right. Cool. All right. My second question, again, to the 3 of you guys, because remember what I said earlier at the beginning, it's an honor to be in this company on this live stream.
You're too
So-
nice.
No, it's the truth.
You are
man.
definitely too kind.
It's the truth.
I put my
Um,
pants on the same way you did. Like we both
Backwards?
stumbled around this morning and like fell over once.
Just
and,
a little
what were you,
shorter. Yeah.
what were you two doing naked in a room together? That's what I want to know.
We had to get our lines synced up. It was a FaceTime.
Oh,
It's
okay.
cool. Just settle down.
I'm not judging.
I talked about this. I talked about this briefly, and Unky Joe has already given me some feedback in my live stream this past week. So we're going to be building a house. I want to go 10 gig backbone because I'm going to have the opportunity while the walls are open to get in there and pull all the wires and set everything up the way I want it. And I love Unify. I love the ease of use. I love everything being central. I'll still keep my edge router 6P at the head end, but the switch, I find that it's limited what they offer as far as 10G switches. And Unky Joe had thrown out MikroTik to me, or MikroTik, however it's said. Thoughts? If you had the opportunity and you were building a house at this point and you can go carte blanche on what it is you want to do, what would you do? That's the question. How would you proceed? As far as selecting equipment for the
Equipment or
backbone?
wiring?
No, not wiring. I'm
Okay.
going to probably go 6 or 6A throughout the whole house. I don't really need 6A because I don't need it the length. I think 6 will cover it, be more than sufficient for the lengths of the runs. But and plus I don't feel like turn. I'll have raw fingers by the time
you will.
I'm done with the 6A.
There's an answer
So-
from Quindor in the chat.
There you go.
If you want to start there, he says multi-mode fiber SFP plus in the walls and use a MikroTik CR308. So he went 10 gig. It's in his house.
MikroTik
I don't know that I'd
CR.
go fiber in the walls, but yeah.
What was that again, Joe?
CR308. What he
308.
suggests.
Well, the other thing that you've got to ask yourself is, are you going to have multiple VLANs? And if you're going to have multiple VLANs, how often are you going to transfer data between the VLANs? Because if you're going to go 10 gig, you don't want to use a simple switch, something that only does L2, if you're going to keep the 6P at the head end, because
Right.
the 6P can't do router on a stick at 10 gig, right? So then at that point, you need to look at something. So if you went with the Edge, the ES 16, it's not the Unify 10 gig switch. It's the Edge switch, like 16 port or whatever.
It's layer 3, right?
Well, it can do static layer 3, right? It's
Okay.
not dynamic. Netgear has got a couple good switches. They're pricey. But then the MikroTik stuff is you can get MikroTik, they've got some great values, but it's like starting out with an edge router. Like they will make you like learn,
Yeah.
like, you know what I mean?
It's a very involved operating system on those MikroTik devices. I used them when I was in wireless ISP, and they have unlimited capabilities, but it's like learning Cisco. You gotta be willing to devote the time to learn it. The other question I think we need to ask is why 10 gig? I mean,
I just want
in the next 5 years, right now the only benefit you get with 10 gig is transfer speeds. So if you're dumping a lot of data between NAS devices or your machine, Yeah.
it. Yeah.
But I have 10 gig. And, to be honest with you, I hardly ever use it. I mean, I do data dumps every once in a while. And if I'm doing an archival backup, it comes in handy. But you don't need it for 4K video. You don't need it to stream H.264, 265 around the house. So
Well,
there's nothing wrong with planning for it, but I just don't know that I don't have a need for it other than, big
Right.
data dumps.
Fair enough. And here's the why. Number one, because the opportunity that's being presented, I can.
Yeah.
I always try to think futuristic as far as, okay, don't make a mistake, do it right. But more, and I also, with the video production, I want to start doing that, speeding up the transfer between the desktop and the NAS, and maybe even, edit off the NAS and not off the local drive. So,
well, I think QNAP has a NAS now. You can just plug in directly to a computer without having to go through all the networking.
Thunderbolt.
Kerfuffle, and you'll get 10 gig speed. Now, if you were Linus Text Tips and you had 20 editors hitting your NAS at one time, 10 gig makes sense. Is that what Linus is running now? Is 10 gig, or did he jump up to 100?
I gotta honestly tell you, I don't watch his stuff. I know I'm gonna get hate for that, but I'm sorry, I don't.
Well, fair enough. All right, thanks, guys. I don't want to monopolize the topic.
On the fiber, I doubt I wouldn't spend the money to put fiber in the wall. I'd just go with Cat 6.
Yeah.
Fiber makes sense between switches that are far apart, but I would just go with Cat 6. Just personal preference.
Well, I've stole Bob Carpenter over to my stream, it looks like, and he says when installing your built-in vacuum, pay them to install conduits to each room. Future-proof your network for anything.
Good. That is a good idea.
Are you doing a whole house vacuum, Tony?
Yes.
Are you?
Wait a minute.
Wow. Talking about like with the ports in the wall and you like
central vac you're talking about?
Yeah, central vac.
We have that now. Yeah,
they make sense.
I hate it, but my wife loves it. I'd rather push around a Dyson or
I get
something
Hoover.
like that. But because dragging that freaking
hose
all over the place,
that heavy head on that hose,
and then
it's got a motorized head,
and then I get yelled at for like the corners of the woodwork being all scraped up and stuff. Well, you know what? Get me a canister.
So she's getting her centralized vacuum. Is the network your thing, or what are you getting? Are you getting an office? Are you getting a man cave? What do you got?
Well, I'm getting a bonus. They call them the upstairs rooms down here in the homes, bonus rooms or frog rooms, and so I'm getting like frog where room. I am now. It's a room above the garage, and hence frog. But I'm getting another bonus room. I'll set up the office studio and from scratch, and and the network's mine. And
I second the conduit.
She's trying to tell she's begging me at this point. No, de-smart the house. She hates the whole smart home.
Yeah. So does my spouse.
I don't blame her.
And I argue with her and I say, hey, but you could still walk up to the switch or the thermostat and use it like a manual switch or a manual thermostat. But hey, that's just me.
I gave that up about 10 years ago.
That's
walking or the smart home?
Smart home.
Well,
it went over like a lead balloon. Shut up, Willie.
You got to understand what my audience is in the real world. Not that YouTube's not the real world, but like people I install for, and people want smart switches and smart lights and this and that. So the best way for me to be able to make recommendations is to install it in my home and get hands-on experience with stuff. So,
So that's a good segue into kind of a hot topic of the world right now, and that is AI. So artificial intelligence, machine learning, because a lot of these smart devices have that either built in or it's going back up to a cloud of some sort. You have the video AI where it's really in any of the platforms. It's it's you have the ability to even blue eye. I don't know if it's an analogy, you guys will have to tell me, but to be able to like identify a person versus a dog versus whatever. So I'd like to know your thoughts on it, how you think it's going to change the industry, what scares you about it, and we'll go from there. So Unky Joe raised his hand, so go first, please.
AI is a lie. I don't even believe in human intelligence, much less machine intelligence. I think behind every AI algorithm, there's a human being flipping a switch somewhere. That's just my personal opinion.
That's the Texas opinion.
Next.
Real quick, Jacob Johnson says, "Hey guys, don't hate the smart house. You can DIY it for privacy, like Superhouse, and not need any cloud interaction at all." Jacob, I think you've just found your niche. I think you've found your outlet to break into IT. If you start a YouTube channel, I will promote you if that is what you get into.
Yeah, OpenHab. I think that's like one of the open source, I think, smart home things you could do. And I have friends who've done it. I haven't, but there's a lot of cool things you could do to really lock it down and have your own stuff. So anyway, artificial intelligence. Willie, since you were talking, your thoughts?
I think that I saw a meme and it had an AI lab, right? And it had the guys tearing the wallpaper off. And under the wallpaper it said if then, if then, if then, if then, if then, if then. And it's the thing is, if you watch all of this, and this, everybody out there, you can go ahead, if you were folding your tinfoil hat, finish it up and put it on now. But what we are heading towards is, I mean, we truly are. If you look at the MIT, they actually have created an AI. You can go out and you can look at the video, and it can, with no real human training or with minimal human training, can pick out different colored shoes, different aspects about shoes and stuff like that, and has a very high accuracy rate. So we have programs like that. We have programs like the Facebook AI that created its own encryption language between the two end nodes so that we couldn't see what was happening. You've got the Google AI that navigated the Louvre by itself. You've got, God knows what's going on with AWS. I mean, they had at one point the world's largest facial recognition analysis and program, and was reselling to like Miami-Dade police department. So you've got all of this stuff sitting out there. And then you look at like the robots that are out there. And another thing that MIT has developed is the ability to see through walls just using Wi-Fi. If you haven't seen that, go check that out. Right. So you take all these technologies. All it takes is like that one person to like sew all of these things together. And I think that's when we get in trouble. I think the technologies by themselves individually, of course, there's pros and cons, especially we are pulling so much metadata about everything we do and giving it up, where we can predict how humans are going to react to a pretty good, we get really close to that. But as far as it living, breathing on its own, I think once you get somebody who's like, okay, I'm going to take this piece from the Disney AI that can swing on a trapeze and do that, and I'm going to take the scary ass jumping robot that Google owns over at Boston Dynamics, that thing that can do
robot.
Well, the one that can do parkour, right? And you take that and you take Facebook and you stitch all these things together. I think that's when it becomes something that we don't.
I'm more worried about the humans abusing the AI, for their nefarious purposes.
And so I agree. This is one thing I do agree with Elon Musk, is that governments must put into place some rules about how AI can be used, because I think that's also the future of the battlefield, unfortunately. And if you want to talk about misuse, I mean,
yeah,
I have enough on my plate to worry about. So yeah.
Tony?
You know what? Willie pretty much said it well, said it all. It's well said. I mean, it's concerning to me, but it's also reality. We're not going to stop it, right? The Social Dilemma, Netflix, right?
Yep.
Great movie. And I know, Willie, you mentioned it in the stream a couple of weeks back. Watched it. Even being a tech guy, it still was eye-opening. So
how these devices are reprogramming kids' brains.
Absolutely.
I mean, those studies have been done. It's not unequivocally proven, but you can see the change in children today as opposed to our generation or my generation. They're different. Their brains are wired differently.
Yep. All right, I think it's time for the final giveaway, Joe.
Let's do it. Let's see. So the final giveaway is for a MeshForce M3 Wi-Fi system. It's basically a main piece and then two dots that you'd put around your house. I don't have it in front of me. It's somewhere around here, but I will ship that out to you. This was given to me by Meshforce free of charge. They're not a sponsor. The same, goes for the rest of the stuff. And we did a review on it, but it is now up for grabs. So we have 81 total entries. So thank you all.
Wow.
Cool.
Yeah, it's great. Thank you all for entering. And this is our last prize. So I am going to do. Let's see.
Wishing everybody
Okay.
luck.
Yes, the winner is CG Carter.
Woohoo!
CG
Congratulations,
Carter.
CG.
Thank you for entering, everybody. And sorry if you didn't win, but CG, I will reach out. I have your email, and we will get that out to you.
I have a comment. It's not in my chat. It's on my phone. It's my buddy James. You guys have heard me mention
Hey, James.
the Unbridled
Hey,
Emotions
James.
podcast
Yeah.
that I've
Yes.
been working on. All right, not to give him the plug here. I mean, that wasn't the intent, but he's on he and his wife are on their way from the East Coast of North Carolina up to the mountains for the weekend, and he said earlier in the week I can't watch the chat live, but we're going to listen on the way up, and so they've been commenting here and there in the comment thread. But he just texted and said, "Stop for gas. Been listening the whole time. I think it's awesome. You guys cover a wide range of issues. Everyone sounds great." So I
Oh,
just
awesome.
thought
We
I'd share that
appreciate
with you
that.
guys.
That's very kind.
So yeah,
Thank you. Yeah, a lot of testing went in on all. So these guys give me too much credit, but everybody took the time to test out and do this ahead of time to try to make this. We really wanted to, and I'm sure everybody will agree. We wanted to make this really something fun for for all the subscribers, because we do appreciate, as Willie says, each and every one of you. But it's true, and it's especially
We had a ball.
nowadays. Yeah, people aren't leaving the house as much and whatever. It's nice to be able to turn something on, watch it live, asking to be interactive.
So, and I mentioned to the group too that we would, I think we've got a great core group here, and I would like to do this frequently. Last night testing, I cut out early before the other guys, but I had a blast.
Yeah,
when the
so
camera's
did
not
I.
rolling, we can, the conversation's even a little different. But and the week before when we tested it the first time and got together, we just had a blast, and I was the party pooper heading to bed early, but I, we've got some other YouTubers too. At some point, I thought maybe it'd be fun to add, I don't know if IT guy Rye is out there listening. He's from Chicago, used to go as the immature dad. Would like to have him in the group. Sean Woods, we'd like to have you in the group. And, it's, I think there's room for more opinions, and we'll probably have to schedule. Maybe we can do one like mid-evening or something, because I think if we get more people, we need to have drinks. We need to sit
Lots
down.
of drinks.
I think we need like a round table,
Yeah.
that's awesome. Yeah, this has been great. This
Yeah,
has absolutely been a ton of fun. In fact, how is everybody feeling about it out in the audience? Like, are you guys liking this? Would you like to see more of this? If so,
Gibby
you know what to
says,
do.
yeah, hit that pound, that likes up button, whatever it is. But Gibby says this is great. Jacob Johnson says this is the best multi-channel stream he's watched yet. Thanks to
Oh,
all.
wow.
Thank you.
That's
So-
high
Those are
praise.
kind
Thank you.
words indeed.
Humbling.
Unfortunately, we may have set the bar a little high first time, because you always run either your first or your last lap the best, right? So
I'm just happy to get around the track. Oh man, we've been live for 2 hours and 3 minutes.
that's amazing. This is the longest live stream I've done in a while.
Yeah, same here.
What was your peak viewers?
68.
Wow, awesome.
32.
Nice.
13, but I'll take it.
I got up
Heck
to
yeah.
25, which I have.
Woohoo.
Yeah. So, well, Tony, you're just getting into streaming.
Yes. So, and this is great. So,
Yeah.
I hope I don't butcher the name, but definitely got another yes from Abhishek Kumar. I do apologize if I butchered that, but definitely wants to see more. Zach gave a triple thumbs up. So yeah, I think we're on to
Wait a minute. Is that for the stream or for pineapple on pizza?
No, to doing more of this.
Catch up, Willie. Catch up.
Yep. So
Sorry, I had to close Internet Explorer and get back with the thing here.
Oh, I'm
Internet
sorry.
Explorer.
Internet Explorer. What the hell's wrong with you? Yeah, it's been overwhelmingly positive on my chat as well.
cool.
And frankly, I would prefer to do group chats rather than a live stream by myself because they're kind of boring. So, and we can play off of one another. I've had nothing but fun, even in the preparation videos for this. Just picking Tony's brain and Joe's and what's left of Willie's brain.
Well, hey, let's bring it up. So since we've still got some of you on here, and hopefully I see my numbers are dwindling after that last giveaway, but hopefully they'll come back here. But the guys kind of brought up something last night. If we were to have an offline, basically one of these meetings where you could see what goes on behind the scenes, if you were like a Patreon subscriber or something like that, is that something that everybody be interested in? Or maybe at the next one we give away a chance to like work behind the scenes? Is that something that people are interested in? Put that in the comments.
Yeah, because I've recorded all these meetings just simply for blackmail purposes if it came to that. So
boy.
Yeah, we do. I guess that's a good point to bring up while people are typing that is we do have ways to support the channel. I know, none of us are doing this as their full-time job. It's more just, to buy gear and do more stuff for the channel. So, there's super chat. There's some of us have Patreon. Some of us have PayPal. There's different ways to support the channels if you like what we do.
except for Willie, he's not monetized.
So Blaine R asks, can you guys do a Tech Quartet live stream for us newbies to ask obvious questions?
Sure.
And I think that's a great
That's a
idea.
great idea.
Yep.
A safe place where people are not going to judge you.
Yeah, that is a really good idea.
Hey, real quick, Bob Carpenter writes, pineapple is a fruit. Tomato is a fruit. Therefore, pizza is a fruit salad with bread.
I like
Pretty
the way
much
you're
says it
thinking,
all.
Bob.
Yeah,
That's deep. That is really deep.
that's something I'm going to put away for future reference anytime anybody challenges me on pineapple.
Hey, I see Hoagie Bogey's hopped into my channel. Everybody say hi to Andrew Hoagveen. He's
Hey, Andrew.
I know
Andrew.
Andrew, and Andrew put in the chat. He does some Twitch streaming, video games. It's kind of his creative outlet. So we'll give him a little bit of a plug if he puts it in the comments.
I have a question in my comments section. If we could take one. Yes.
Yes.
Okay. George DeLuca III writes, here is something, he's not being political. Does anyone think that with the new administration that net neutrality will make a comeback?
That sounds
Is
like
it
a good
even
one for Willie.
Uh-oh.
Oh, is there crickets?
He's winding up.
He's got crickets. Do you hear it?
I don't think anybody wants to answer that. I certainly, I don't know. I just want him to leave the internet alone. Treat it like a utility.
Yeah. I mean, that's, yeah.
Like your cell phone. They don't tell you who you can call and talk to and what you can say. Treat the internet the same way.
I want to have a pipe that basically I can, do what I want other than, illegal things, but basically, do what I want, not be capped, not have Netflix, have to pay a fee to get onto, Comcast's fiber
Backbone,
or whatever. Yeah.
I just want Joe Trelli to be my exit Tor node. That's all.
You want my physical body to be your?
Well, let's
not go there.
Weird.
Yeah.
Is that what you're getting at?
If you all are watching
look at the
Twitch,
time.
by the way, it's Hoagie Bogey, Hoagie HOGIE_BOGIE. Check him out. He plays Dota, and he's just trying to get his stream up off the ground. So if you're
What
into
is
Dota, I have no idea. These kids play games.
The game.
Yeah, the only game I play right now is Among Us.
Let me
Which,
translate for the old folks.
Have you guys, Joe, and Tony, have you played Among Us?
No. Where do I even get this?
No.
Your favorite app store, and it is like my kids got me into it, and it will teach you so much about how humans lie and get away with it. It's not even funny. And we could do like around the holidays, we could do an Among Us. We could stream us playing and have people come in and join the private server. How fun would that be?
Oh, that was cool. That would be cool. Hey, I have a question from Abhishek, I'm going to throw out to you guys. Oh, have any of you guys used OpenWRT as a firewall router? 'Cause
Yes.
the question is, I have a question about using the Edge Router X versus OpenWRT as a firewall router. Which one is better? And I mean, I haven't used OpenWRT, but
It's been years.
I can tell you. Let me step back. I love the Edge Router firewall. I mean, for what it is, I think it's really solid. And
I
I mean,
agree.
Willie, I've heard you say it's probably one of the best out there out of the box.
For $49,
Yeah.
there's absolutely no reason that you should ever find remote desktop ports open on the internet.
Yeah.
$49. Put the firewall in. Put a VPN on it. Come on,
Yep.
folks.
Yeah, Unky Joe, you were going to comment on it, or
I agree. Yeah, wholeheartedly. Yeah.
so? Okay.
The only thing lacking on that device is the reporting. Like, so if you're in a commercial environment and they want to get reports and that kind of thing, it's kind of lacking. But it's rock solid and easy to set up, and it's cheap, so it's
Yeah.
right up my alley.
What? Hey, one video I recently
up,
did with the Blue Iris stuff, which is the camera software, if you don't know, but was about the port forwarding versus setting up a VPN. And since you brought that up, Willie, I know that Synology in their surveillance station has a proxy so that you don't have to do the port forwarding. Is port forwarding, do you feel, I mean, obviously it's kind of a hole in your network, but I guess talk to me a little bit about what you tell your customers about the security aspects of port forwarding versus VPN versus using a proxy.
So if you have a service that can be secured appropriately, and Synology and everybody here who's running Synology can back me up on this, you can set up two-factor authentication on Synology. So I have absolutely no problem doing a port forwarding from the outside world to a Synology, as long as you're using two-factor authentication. Now, the Synology security advisor will actually tell you to change the default ports, which is also a good idea. However, I don't think it's as important as long as you're running two-factor authentication. So, because the thing is, if I'm going to break into your system, I'm not going to stop once I don't see anything on 5000, 5001. I'm going to sniff the whole
Every
gamut
port.
of
Yep.
ports, So
Interesting, Willie. I have a situation right now with I'm port forwarding to my Synology so that when I'm working over with James and doing his recordings and stuff, I have access to the Audacity files or whatever. And oddly enough, I cannot use, I thought Quick Connect, correct me if I'm wrong, but the whole Quick Connect concept was so that you didn't have to open up ports and port forward, right?
correct.
I cannot access via Quick Connect.
And it's miserably slow if you
Unless-
can.
Yes, but Quick Connect, I have the port forwarding open, and that's how I'm doing it. But if I try when I'm remote to access the Synology using Quick Connect without the ports open, without that port forwarding, Quick Connect's not letting me in, and I can't figure it out for the life of me.
Check inside the Synology. Make sure all your, even if you're using it as a DNS server, make sure that you have like on the, are you using dynamic DNS with it?
Yes.
So make sure that you're using like 8.8.8.8 for
Mhm.
the Synology to get out and look at that. I've seen a lot of weird issues. For some reason, some of those services like to be bound to that 8.8.8.8 for
Okay.
DNS. And if you change that, sometimes I've seen weird things happen. So try that, but we could definitely take a look at that as well.
Yeah, I use that as a secondary. I'm using Cloudflare as the primary, and then 8.8.8.8 as the secondary. So
Yeah.
I'll flip it. I'll see what happens. So
David G in the comments writes something that's important. If someone finds an exploit in the Synology logon, then two-factor authentication is useless. So
like when Twitter the guys hacked and all the Bezos and all the top guys, Musk, a few months ago. They didn't get through the two-factor authentication. They got in through a social engineering.
Social engineering.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
there again proves my point. People are the weak link, and
Yep.
if you even if you set up 2FA, if you've got a weak password or if you've got something like that going on, how do you mitigate that? how do you control people and have them pick good passwords? And a lot of people, especially in the corporate world, when I have to set up a VPN connection in addition to, and then let them in via RDP, because it's the only way I'll do it. They're like, why do we have to log in twice? Why do I have to have this software running up, so I'm looking for a good solution that is like a gateway for RDP that is
Check
also
out
secure.
the Synology RTC 2600 AC has a remote desktop proxy where everything is HTML5 and runs through the web browser.
Perfect. It's exactly what I'm looking for.
It's awesome. Willie with his rapid knowledge of model numbers.
So unfortunately with Synology, if you're using, we have installed a ton of Synology VPN this year. And unfortunately with their VPN, as of this moment, you can't do 2FA. Bob Carpenter was asking about VPN and 2FA. If you're running an open sense box, you can actually do 2FA with your open VPN. So there are some ways to do that. And Alonzo Smith is offering up his FiberStore AP1167C AP for the next live stream giveaway. So
Nice.
people are kicking back in. So
Awesome. Thank you.
Do we want to start to wrap up here? We've been live for about 2 hours and 15 minutes.
And it's been flawless, Joe Trelli.
Yeah,
Again,
Joe Trelli.
kudos to you.
Thank you. Well, we're
Thank
running
you,
on the
Ashley.
cloud, so I have to.
Let's
I
all
have to
give Joe
thank-
the clap.
I have to
Yeah.
thank the cloud.
So.
Willie. We should have run this on Willie's Synology.
Right? In a virtual machine.
right.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
On my self-hosted Jitsi.
that's right.
I do want to try that the Jitsi stuff and doing
Tony?
the RTMP.
So I did like an overview, like when everything started happening, like back in March, like I started doing videos on like, hey, these are the kind of tools you can rapid roll
Right.
to get people ready. But Tony has, in my opinion, the best instructional video out there on how to set up your own Jitsi server. And Tony, correct me if I'm wrong, it comes in two parts, right? First part is installing the server. Second part is security.
Correct.
So check out Tony's, like if you're going to do self-hosted, definitely check out Tony's video on that.
And Tony, your channel is, I guess we should tell our channel so that if you're not subscribed to any one of us, please do so. We would be happy to have you. Thank you. We thank you. Tony, your channel name?
Quik Tech Solutions, LLC.
And that's QUIK.
QUIK, right.
It's
And
like right here on the shirt.
and Joe,
Oh,
your
me?
channel name?
Unky Joe? Unky Joe's Playhouse.
Unky Joe's Playhouse. All
Yeah.
one word. Unky
That's
Joe.
right. Unky Joe's.
There it is on the
Playhouse.
shirt. Yep. And Willie Howe, your channel name is Willie Howe, right?
Yep.
So we plan, I'm sure we all have content in the hopper coming up.
Oh, yeah.
Some interesting videos. So and thanks everybody for watching. Make sure to give a thumbs up if you enjoyed this. Also, comment on the video after the fact. We all like to answer comments and chat with y'all. Any last words from you guys?
Stay
Been a
safe.
blast. Yeah.
Yeah, stay
and-
safe.
Thanks to these three guys for putting up with me the last couple of weeks.
Oh, it's been a
And,
blast.
looking forward to doing it again.
Yeah. Thanks for doing it
blast.
with us, Willie. That's really, really an
Appreciate
honor.
it.
So
Yeah.
And thanks to all the people out there that joined us today. It's
Yes.
kind of it's really an affirmation, and I'm glad we're getting through and we're getting feedback from people because that's why we're doing it. So
Yeah.
We do appreciate each and every one of you. And I will tell you that I prefer to not pre-record that bit because it is important to me to let people know every time I put content out that I do really from the bottom of my heart appreciate them coming to look at that content.
We wouldn't do it without everybody who watches, even if you're not subscribed, even if you're just watching it to learn something. That's exactly so.
Yep.
All right. Well,
greatly appreciated.
thank you everybody, and we'll all click end stream on our own channels.
I guess so. We'll
Good
see you on the
talk.
other side.
See you on the other side.
bye,
Take care.
everybody. Thank you.
Bye bye.